All right, hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing today? How are you? How are you? Good to see everybody. How's it going there? CG on the Twitch. How are you there, CG? All right, let's see. We need some builds to be worked on here. Trying to get everything ready for the multiplayer. So, did a bunch of crane stuff yesterday. Let's look at what I have. Trying to think of what we're gonna need here, so that I can hopefully get the multiplayer stream going again sometime this week. So we have the intermodal ramp car worked on. Let's quickly just take a look at that. I might zhuzh this up a little bit. I think what you want for decking on this or other things. I don't know how much I want to work on this today, but we'll find some things to work on here. Got a bunch of stuff. Should be making more notes that would make it easier to figure out what I want to work on, but do not have right there. All right, we knew there's some paint issues here. Started working on a little pickup truck version of the Patney. That's just a fun little build there as well. So got knocked out of the top 5 for Patney with a down vote, so that sucks, but it's typical, so we expect that. Alright, so that's pretty good. Let's save this again. I'm trying to decide. I'd like to kind of work on something new, maybe. So let's kind of see what we have for, look at the map, kind of give me some ideas what we're going to need. So next multiplayer session, we are working up at the Iron Mine. So I'm going to start a new save. That way everybody can get in who doesn't have the DLCs. I'll disable those. So be doing the mining with the new miners that pull the trailers. And now that we have a crane that can load trailers on the train, can do it a couple ways. One, load the trailers on the train. Or we can also do the road railer. And so finish up that car probably in time for that. Okay, what else do we need? If we do aluminum, that's the other option. So aluminum is generally in this vicinity here. That will be done with road trains. So potentially could do something with the road trains. I'm trying to think how the mechanism would work, though. That mechanism's kind of tough. We can do side dumps. One of my issues with the way that they did the Industrial Frontier is it's little stuff that bothers me, like the, it's using sand coloration. You have to drive over the sand and dump in here, where they could have just continued the asphalt color. That's the benefit of this being, like some people will say, oh, put in real roads. Essentially what they're saying is they want flat roads instead of just being painted on. The benefit of painting it on is that they can then quickly edit them to paint them. For example, paint a parking lot here that will allow you to go right to this. So that is the benefit of painted on stuff. Like I would like them to add a road in, a big lot, and then a road out, so that you're not driving on the sand to come dump. It just breaks the brain a little bit. But we could do side dumps here. Let's look at some trailer stuff. Might start doing missions off the bat. I'm just trying to kind of figure out what I want to do here. Let's do side dump. Let's do side dump aluminum trailers. Not that it needs to be that specific, but yeah, it's going to be aluminum as the material of the trailer for some of them. But some of these are, heavy-duty dump trailers like this one here. Yeah, because if we're going to do multiple trailers for doubles, it's nice to do a side dump, pull-in dump on the side. So here are a bunch of different side dump trailers. Yeah, so these are kind of interesting. The problem, yeah, it's not a problem, but I'd have to put in a funnel on top. I had put in a feature request that I wanted that, they could, the hoppers would dump from their top if you triggered them, so that way you could make just trailers you tip over. But trying to think of how that, I can't think of how that trailer would dump, the one that I was talking about last time, because it has the neck pin under it. It'd have to have the, so like here, we'll go to paint and I'll figure out how to make this work. So okay, come on, click on the right links there, ding dong. I'm trying to figure out the mechanism on a rear dump set of doubles. So, for example, the way they must work IRL is, let's get this frame going here. So here's your trailer, and then we'll put some wheels on there. So there's the trailer, there's some wheels. All right, and so in order to have the type of linkage I'm thinking about, you would have to have, your axle connections. Let's say the axles connect. They come up here for an axle connection. And then you'd have to have a frame rail come up here for the trailer, because the trailer has to pivot off of here in order to not dump, where it shouldn't be. And then you would need a trailer pin here. So essentially the way these trailers work, let's see. Essentially it's like that for the lead trailer, and then the kite would be kind of like this, where it has a tongue that comes out the front. and the tongue goes in and it attaches to a pivot here. And the reason they do this is so you back in both trailers. They both be the same size. You back in this trailer, and then you have your pile to dump in right here. You would come in, you would dump the rear trailer, and then you pull up, and then you purposely jackknife this trailer. And because the pin is here, it will go 90 degrees to the lead trailer. And because there's nothing underneath there, it can dump. So that would be an interesting little project to work on. So let's start with that, and we'll see if that gets us anywhere useful. Twisted ankle CG, that's no good. Yeah, you never know. Like, a lot of people will downvote stuff when it doesn't go fast enough, man. So, and some people are just like, literally, you know, there are people who will downvote just to be jerks, you know. You know, other people have had problems in the past where somebody will downvote to get them booted out of the top 5 too, so. You never know. I was trying to find a video. I'd seen a video many years ago of this type of trailer that I just kind of showed, and I cannot find the video again because it was interesting. Let's see. So here's the DT. Let's see if we can edit this. So, see, this is the problem and why what this trailer fixes is this type of trailer here. You have your pivot here. So the pivot point is right here. And then you don't want your dolly or your tongue underneath here, or you're going to dump whatever heavy, dirty material on top of the tongue. And so those type of trailers, because they hook on here... Oh, this trailer's not going to be able to do it either. Crap. Yeah, this trailer's got too much stuff in here. You know what? Actually, it probably doesn't need to be that deep. We probably have to go into, like, here, and we should be able to do it, so... Let's see if I can get that to work. I might be able to get this to work. Let's see. And then I probably want to cut in another block or two on these here. So I'm saying like there maybe. Okay. Probably something like that. And then we have two. Okay, and then they come in there, I'd say. All right, good. So let's go like this. You do need bumper connections on these. And let's put in, because we're going to have some sort of angle on them. The big thing for me is actually being able to maneuver them realistically. Okay, and then this can go like that. And make sure I didn't delete any mechanism I need. I don't think I did. Nope. All right, I didn't get any mechanism I need. This is right here. This is the last one I could delete, so that works. Something like that. And then you wouldn't hang it off a tongue like that. It'd have to have a front dolly to do it. This is already a dump trailer. This is going to be the easiest way to do it. I wish I could find those specific trailers. They were, it was nice the way they were set up. But they work essentially like this. And then it's got to have a dolly. There's no way it's hanging off of that. Yeah, there's no way it's hanging off of that. I wish I could find them. Let's see if I can find some of these dump trailers. The problem is, like, so many people put things on the internet and they don't use technical terms, and then so you get a bunch of faff that's kind of nonsense that doesn't actually go into what you're actually looking for. Like, these are side dumps. This was an option to do a side dump on there, so I like doing having a bunch of equipment anyway. This one's straight tongue, so this could be, yeah, it might be able to just do it straight tongue, because often these double dumps, these double dump trucks, like here's a picture, okay, here's a picture of the attach point. See, they put the attach point more, the bed extends past the attach point so that you can hopefully dump past the dolly, is essentially what it is. Now, not all of them have dollies, though. I'm trying to find the ones without dollies, which is what this dump trailer I just looked at would have that I've just lost now. Like this one here has no dolly. It has this particular type of tongue so that you can offset at 90. Like here's one where the dolly attaches underneath, like there, and that's again to do that so that you can you don't dump all over it. Trying to find the exact mechanism that I'm thinking of and see if I can find it, because that would be interesting to see exactly how they do it. I don't think they're permanently attached, but you know, they're semi-permanently attached. They're not one you detach all the time. So like there's another doubles dump trailer, same type of idea. So that's just on a dump truck scale, as they use those with a dump truck instead of it being a semi with a set of doubles. So I think my build will work fine. I've got it. I'm just trying to. I really wanted to see that. Here it is. No, that's not it. That's not the one. Damn it! I wish I could find that video. That was a cool video. I'd show you guys them working. It's an interesting design. I don't see them very often, so. I don't think it was in the US either, so I don't know where it was that they were using them. So if I knew a country they were using that model of trailer in, I could find it. But kind of hard to find, but should be able to. I'm gonna try it. I really like to try it without a dolly. The issue is the dolly. The dolly makes it, especially like if we're gonna be doing multiplayer, and I've got other people who are not professional truck drivers trying to back up stuff that is absolutely hairy. It's gonna be too tough. Where you know, make it take the dolly out. That really simplifies the reversing. For a lot of people, backing a trailer is already challenging. You start to put in dollies, it gets ugly. I even struggle backing a set of doubles up. All right, so let's take a look. I think this system will work fine. And let's build the other one, so let's go forward on that, and then we'll grab all this. And then, because one of the things, I want to modify trailer 1 so that it's not that different. And so, like, all that has the different attached systems. That's a pretty simple mod on that. And you want to make these, trying to think the geometry on this. So I need to do a little measurement here. Let's see. Let's do pink blocks so we remember where we need to get rid of. 3. Right. Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Christ. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 to the front, and then we would need to run a 10 bang on this side. So that's 10, so that will work. All right. probably one off. Make two off, and then we'll go like this. Let's try that and see if this will do. Ah, put that backwards. Like a donkey. Infinite electricity. I still have to fix that. I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. It needs to... It's like the pressure gets stuck in there and then it overreads it. So that could just be I have to retune the number on that trail, on the extension on there. Just quickly fix that so it doesn't keep doing that. And then we'll put a tractor in here and we'll test it. Let's see. Alright, that should prevent that. Alright, and let's grab a tractor and stick a tractor in here. What do I have this running? I know the Macs are running. For some reason, the cab over is having issues. I gotta look at that. This is kind of my off-road dump variant anyway, with the drop axle. It has the dump node. So I'll kind of show you why you'd want a system like this, so you can reverse both trailers. Fucker. See, this has the old T-TIS system, so I gotta update some of my trucks too, so that they have the new T-TIS system and the new dump system all set up. So. Don't think this works currently with the current version of T-TIS, so could build a new tractor. That would be kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't have air brakes on that, so I should detach all the air brakes. Let's do that, and then should be able to go from there. I'll get the proof of concept kind of going on this, and we'll know where we're at. If it's going to work, or if it's not going to work the way I want it. Alright, so that, now they have no brakes, that should work. Curious about Wednesday's update, so that should be interesting. Yeah, there are a bunch of trailers where they only decouple them for maintenance. It's they have permanent couplings on there that they don't detach. Like this system, I'll show you here when we get to backing it. Right. So I don't even I need to put up landing gear, but that's it. Put up landing gear, and then I'll kind of show you why you would use a system like this. So see how it pivots underneath the bed? And the reason for that is, let's say right here to my right at the corner of this road is where we want to dump you know, say the iron into the iron mine. So you come in here, you jackknife it. Okay. Doing it in third person is always kind of tough for me. All right, there we go. And then you're gonna come in and you know, you would dump would dump the rear trailer first. Let's dump the rear trailer first. Let's do it how you would do it. So you're gonna dump the rear trailer first. Try to do it all. I'm not gonna do it all in the mirror. You guys aren't gonna be able to see it anyway. But you would straighten up both trailers, and we want to dump it right in the corner there. So I'm gonna go tractor trailer on that. All right, and now because these don't have a dolly in there, they're much easier to reverse. So we start reversing slowly. All right, and just because they have that long tongue and they're not pushing a dolly, they don't accordion very badly, so I can push 2 trailers. If I had a dolly, we'd probably already be all crooked. And so now I can back up 2 trailers like this. All right, so you back the second trailer up to the dump zone. So I'm going to fix the back trailer now. There we go. Okay. Come back. All right, so wheels at the edge of the dirt right there. Okay, so we dumped that trailer there. All right, now we want to get trailer 1 to there as well. So you would go forward, and you start jackknifing that trailer. So what we're going to want to do here is we're going to come to the right here. And we'll start jackknifing 2. All right, so you start jackknifing trailer 2 like so. And then, you know, I'm off, but you're going to follow with trailer 1, and then trailer 1 goes where you want it right there. And then you can dump that trailer and the other trailers out of the way. So you've dumped 2 trailers at this point. And then you're out of there and you're back going to where you need to go. That's the benefit of a system like this. That's why you use that, is because you can easily maneuver both trailers like that. So that's why they do it. They have this on dump trucks too. They do these. Now the problem is, like, a dolly is much more complicated to reverse. Yeah, so a little bit of practice, I could probably get that. But you need that. You need the connection point underneath the pivot point for the dump body, and you need it above the bumper like that. So that's how you do it with that. So you take a little practice getting in trailer 1 in there, but 2 is pretty easy to back right in. I'm going to try to get 1 right where it needs to go. So, like, one of the things you want to do is you want to work on your setup. So your setup's important. So trying to think of the best way to set this up, because we want to get the first trailer kind of cocked into position. So, like, let's say it's right in that corner is where I want to be. So, like, right there. All right, so a little bit more forward on the setup. So putting in trailer 2 is easy. Trailer 1's a little bit more of a setup. You gotta get set up correctly. So we'll set up one more time and kind of see, gotta come up with a procedure on where that goes. But that's working well. This is what the trailers look like, the ones that I was kind of modeling this off of. All right, so you come in. Easiest is coming at 90 degree, which I already didn't come in at 90 degree, but you come in, you hug where you want to be, and then we're gonna go. This is where, like, it pays off to go slow in a truck. Like, this is, by going slow here, you can see I can move the cab really, really precisely, and I can get the trailer aligned where I want it. Now, like, when you're teaching somebody to do tractor trailer, you actually have them stop a lot. So, like, I stop there to move my tires where I need them. Then you stop and let the tires center again. So you actually move your tires while you're stopped. All right, now what we want to do is we want to go all the way to the right and reverse. All right, now you would stop and you straighten your tires out. And now we want to back up. So the fuck? Why are we not in fucking reverse? I clicked the up arrow by accident. Take it out of reverse. All right, and so, yeah, so there we go. Right in the corner there. And we tip in 1. Bingo. So yeah, so that would be kind of the procedure on that. And then you dump this one. That's the whole reason for this type of trailer system, again, is you don't want to dump, you know, heavy material on the tongue here. You'll damage it. So you off track it like this. Now this trailer can dump. All right, so we dump that one. Generally, you want to dump 2 first because you don't want the heavy. You always want the heaviest weight up front. You don't want it in the back. But like, I don't take the brakes off. There we go. Then you come in. Then you're ready to dump 2. 2's piece of cake. Now we're gonna dump in the same spot. So you see I'm moving my wheels first. That's something like, you know, when you get more experience in tractor trailer, you can move your wheels while you're moving, but like you want to go slow in a tractor trailer because it gives you time to adjust where you're moving. You know, people again want to go fast. You know, that's why they say with heavy equipment, you know, slow is fast, because you actually get things more precisely and done on the first try. You know, if you get it on the first try, it might take you 5 minutes going quote unquote slow. If you have to do 10 pull-ups, it might take you 10 minutes. Each attempt was faster, but overall it took you double the time. So like there's trailer 1 in there. We'll do one more test, or trailer 2. Do one more quick run with putting that so I can get a setup. So like I'm imagining that corner is the actual dump spot at the metal ore foundry. So like to put in the front trailer now, the lead. Ideally, what you're going to do is come in 90 degrees like this. You're going to come in slow. All right, now we want to jackknife the front trailer. So you're coming in. All right, now, you know, we're going to go full left on the steer wheels. And we'll start to jackknife the tractor. All right, jackknife. Bingo, stop. All right, now we want to go right, and we want to do a pull-up to straighten the tractor out. All right, tractor straighten, stop. Now we want to go hard left. Can't hear the backup alarm over the music. All right, so now we're starting to get the tractor to go in the other direction. Now we're going to straighten the wheels out, and we're going to steer that where we want it directionally. So right there, bingo, stop. And we dump the lead. So that's pretty simple. That's why, you know, you'd want trailers like this. You can easily get that tongue out of the way. It's really easy to manipulate. You start putting a dolly in there. Oh my God, it's a challenge. You know, because the dolly is going to go the exact opposite way. So, like, moving that rear trailer is an absolute nightmare with the dolly. I got jammed up here, so that's what it's doing. So a little bit of a jam. Let's see what it's actually doing here so I can... God damn it, get out of the cab. Fucking underground now. Trying to get back there quick to see what it's jamming up on so I can fix it. Okay, so it's hitting right here. So I'll move. Okay. All right, good. All right, let's get rid of the cab. So yeah, that will work well. This set of trailers I think will work nicely. Let's see. So we'll cut here. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. So that's that now has a skinnier up front, so that shouldn't jam up. All right, nice. So that should work. All right, let's save these. All right, so these are gonna need dump connections. These are going to need dump connections going through the rear for hydraulics. These need hydraulic lines in the rear. It's going to need light cord, which I thought it had, but maybe it doesn't anymore. So it needs a light cord, and it needs Gonna need light core, it's gonna need air. Yeah, so gonna need all that stuff. But yeah, so that's pretty good. Alright, let's grab... I want to fix the dump trailer and see what's wrong with it. I'm having issues with it right now. It'd be kind of cool to build a new tractor, too. I've been wanting to build a big road train tractor, a new one. How's it going, Rasmus? Yeah, like, the doubles I've towed in real life, they have dollies on them, so let's see. So they're different in different countries. Oh my god, if I could type, we'd be in great shape here. I'll show you like the ones we tend to use IRL. Oh. Again, the internet is full of non-technical terms, and then it puts up a bunch of bullshit that doesn't, in any way, shape, or form, look like what you're actually asking it for. So, like, here's a set of doubles here. This is what we run with in the U.S. All right, set of doubles. The problem is, with this set, and you have your dolly, as I move the back of the trailer, of the lead trailer to the right, this trailer is going to go to the left because the dolly moves opposite. And then as this moves left, this one goes right. So both your trailer rears will move to the right, and both your trailer fronts will be moving left. And so it ends up making an accordion, so it's tough to get that fixed up. When you have, when you're not using a dolly, for example, they have European, what are they called? They're like these double Bs, I think they call them. Was it liner B doubles? Yeah, double Bs here. You don't have that problem with these double Bs because you don't have an extra pivot point in there. You have your pivot point off your kingpin. You have your pivot point off the second kingpin. That's it. With a set of proper doubles. Set of proper doubles here, you have... I'm trying to see if they would actually have a picture. Like, here's a set of doubles. You have your pivot point off your kingpin, your pivot point off of your tongue, and your pivot point off your kingpin. So you have 3 pivot points, which makes it even more of a pain in the ass to reverse them. These double Bs work well. These are fine for freight, but they then become a problem with, dumping. You'd have to slide the dump body back to then dump, and then you need a smaller dump body because you have all this extra axle on the back. So, each type of trailer has its benefits and its drawbacks. This picture is useless. Give me one. Okay, that one's useless. What are you? They're all like transparencies for some strange reason. So like double 28s is what I'm used to running. So you'd run double 28s like this. These are on the Mass Turnpike. We never ran these. And then triples out west, we would run triples. Triples are gonna be a nightmare to back up. On a triple you have pivot point, pivot point, pivot point, pivot point, pivot point. And pretty simple like trailer mechanics. The longer your trailer is, the easier it is to back because you have to move the wheels of the tractor quite a bit to get the rear to steer. The shorter the pivot point, the shorter the trailer. So see how small the dolly is? The dolly is only from here, pivot point, to center of the axle. That's really short. So a small movement of the tractor will make a big movement of the dolly. So it very easily gets out of control. That's, again, why you don't want to go fast. It's quicker to go slow. So, for example, it is easier for me to back up a 53-foot trailer than it is for me to back up a 28-foot trailer. Because the 28-foot trailer is going to move more quickly on me, so I have to correct more quickly. The 53-foot trailer is going to move more slowly, so I have to correct more slowly. I can see any errors or any misalignments happening and fix them quicker and the longer the trailer is. So, that's an interesting picture here. Let's see what I got in. Fuck off there. Message. Interesting trailers there. Low loaders. Yeah. So I think that system will work out eventually well. I'll keep working on it. But, yeah, I'm used to 28-footers and dollies, so those tend to be a pain in the ass to back up. How's it going, Turtle Man? How are you? How's it going, Citrus? Yeah, the heaviest loads we used to pull was we would take an intermodal container. Let's see if I find. Let me see if I find intermodal on a trailer. So here's an intermodal chassis trailer. So these chassis weigh about 10,000 pounds. And then the intermodal itself, like this is a proper, this is an American chassis. These are the ones I pulled with 8 tires. So I know the weights of these. This is about 10,000 pounds. These 53-foot cans, these containers, that's not 53, but a 53-foot can. Show me a 53-foot can, you. Show me everything Euro. Show me a proper, like, US 53-footer. That's a 53-foot chassis. Trying to see a 53-foot can. I have to do a new search for you. Pain in the ass, you. 53-foot intermodal container. Images, please. All right, so this is a 53-foot intermodal container. These weigh about 7,500 pounds. I was trying to see if it said tear on it. They'll show you the weight on them. I'm see if I can see it. It's in here. I can't see it. It's too blurry. But they're usually about 7,500 pounds. So the trailer, here's a CSX. This one, I don't know where that is at, but this is these are the types that we would pull. So chassis is 10,000. The container is 7,500 empty, and then we would load them with dollies. I think we would get 12 dollies in there, and the dollies are 4,000 pounds a piece. So you got 40, let's say 40,000 pounds plus 10 is 50 plus, 7,500 on there. So we're getting close to the 80,000 on these. Those are the heaviest trailers we would pull full of dollies because they would stack the dollies in there to reposition them to other facilities. So, trying to see if one had tear on it. Right here, tear. It says tape. It should be tear, but that's pretty light. 4,800 pounds. That's pretty light. Usually they're 75s. This one have a tear on it? Can't see. Tear weight 10,360 pounds. So this container here weighs maybe it's the chassis weighs 7,500 and the cans. I might have them inverted. This container here, just the empty container, weighs 10,360 pounds. So, but that's the cool thing with intermodals. It's amazing, like the amount of weight some of these pieces of equipment can hold. Like the lifters pull those off the train and off your trailer, no problem. And the container weighs 10, and then whatever's in there. But it's pretty neat. All right, let's see what the hell is up with this. Why this is acting the fool here. All right, so I got a couple things I need to do. I need to limit that. That's pushing out too far. And then I need to get the pressure off of this. That is at 12.4. Let's change this to 20. Okay, and then let's put a limit on this. Two dump mechanism. All right. That's wrong. Let me see what. I definitely put some wrong stuff in there. Which direction are you going there, guy? Positive. So it should be 0, not negative, and that should be, let's try a 0.5. Okay, I'm gonna actually, let's see where it was. I'm gonna fix this back to 12. I might have put it down to 12 for testing. That's probably what I did. Because I knew 12 was too much. Alright, so that's still pulling. We want that to not pull at all. Because you see it's starting to do phantom physics, so we don't want to pull. So I need to limit this out. Let's do 0.4. So I want to watch that. I want to make sure it doesn't put any stress on it. See, it's still pulling it. Let me see what it's sending to that. Rotation target 0.4. Okay, I think I had it as 0.25. I don't know why I went up so high. I think I initially had it at 0.25. I'll fix a couple things on these trailers. All right, perfect. So that's no longer pulling anymore, so that's not going to have phantom forces. All right, good. So that fixes that. And then I need this here to also go to... Oh, I know why. That was probably set there. Let's put those up to there. And then what was that hooked to here? That can go. And then what are you? You can go. All right, let's try that again. Make sure that back dump gate's opening. All right, back dump gate is opening. All right, good. So then I want it to auto dump. So back dump gate's good. So it should auto dump when it gets to full. So let's see, what has a piston has a read. I can read off the piston rod. So let's read off the piston rod. Because I don't want it to dump until it's in the dump position. All right, so let's read off the piston rod. So the piston rod, if I could show, is currently at 0.4. All right. So let's see, where are you at, guy? Right here. Let's see. All right, number input piston rod. And then we want an on-off output to the funnel. I mean to move the spawn. Funnel dump. So if it's greater than 0.4, we'll go ahead and we'll dump the funnel. Let's see, let's make it just a 4-banger that will fit in there. Let me actually see where that will... What do I need? I need a 2x3, so let's just make it a 2x3. Right there. All right, so that's going to go to the funnel. Marker lights aren't hooked up either. I got to fix that. Piston rod. So read off the piston rod. That will just, it will only dump this when it's full. So let's give it a quick run. All right, when it's fully raised is when it will dump. So it has to wait till it's fully raised. And so I just want to dump all that out, make sure nothing gets stuck. It all dumps. I think we look pretty good there. I don't think we dumped anything on the ground. Nope, that worked well. So that all dumped where it was supposed to. No problems there. Beautiful. So that's now fixed. All right, so now let's fix the pressure on this. So let's go to 20. Let's save it. There's DT. All right, let's grab out the only thing that I have currently with the new hydraulic system, which this hydraulic system is going to go on. Maybe I'll build a new tractor that has the new upgraded system on it. Why did I do that? I take you. All right, so I need to put this in for the correct pressure. So. All right, so with that set to 20, that should not raise up when it spawns in. It does not. Okay. Let's get rid of infinite electricity. Make sure. I don't know if I hooked everything up, so I'll just leave it on. All right, so pretty much we only need the pressure. So that's storage send and storage return. Okay. So what this should do is this should build the pressure up. So this valve is up. So if we want to raise the trailer, what I'm going to do is rev up, and we should not be able to raise the trailer, but we'll see. Unless we rev it up. Let's put it that way. Okay. And close the valve. So it's going to cycle if I rev up. And so it should not raise if I rev up, because it should be cycling the oil through the tractor, through the trailer, and back. Because it cycles, the pressure can never build up. You're not packing anything in there. You know, so the pressure here is at 8. And then if I close the valve, I need to see what the new number is going to be. All right, so this is the problem I'm having is... Okay. Let's play with these numbers. Get out of there. I'm going to play with the numbers here. So 12.4 wasn't a bad number. The problem is we need to drop this just a hair. Let's drop that to 90% and see where we get. All right, so at 90%, that doesn't pressurize enough to raise it. Let's see where we're at there. 11.2. Storage return. Storage send. Okay, now we want to rev up and close the valve. When we close the valve, what it's doing is it's pumping. It's allowing us to pump oil into the trailer, but it can't come back. So we have a tank of oil in the tractor here. And so let's say we have, I don't know, 5 liters in the trailer, 5 liters in the tractor, but we need 10 liters to extend the piston. And so if the valve is open, we're constantly sending oil to the trailer, but then it's coming right back into the tractor. So it's in a loop, so it never gets to a high enough oil level to fill the piston. When we close the valve, what it's doing is it's now filling up the piston with oil, and that's how it works IRL. So let's check the numbers. If I didn't change the numbers, it's not going to do anything. So let's see where it gets to. So 11.25. Shit. So this is going to cause me problems here. The problem is it's running the same pressure because the volumes. Let me see what I can get to here. What are we on here now? 12.4. Let's just make it a large number, and I'll test the numbers here. I need to test the numbers without the trailer moving. All right, so let's see. This is showing 12.47. Let's see what it does when I plug in the hoses, because that should fill the hoses up. Let's see, hydraulic return. I didn't even see what I did. Hydraulic return, storage, return. Send, okay. All right, so that is plugged in. And so let's see what that changed to. So it went from 12.47 to 8.16. All right, because it took some of the pressure and it put it through the lines, dropping the pressure. Now we need to see where this gets to when we rev. All right, where does this get to? All right. 12.47. So how is that? Okay, so what it's doing is it's losing the pressure out of the tank through the lines. I'm trying to think. I could put a separate reserve tank. I'm trying to decide how to get this pressure where it needs to go. All right, so I need like a reserve tank on there or something to take up some of the slack. Yeah, I need like a slack tank to take up some slack. So let's see. How do I do a slack tank? See, the problem here is this valve opens when we go, and then that should be dropping the pressure though, because like, so this is what I'm thinking here is this is the way it should work. So you have this hydraulic line come in, and then it fills up this. So this tank should be full. As you can see, it's full of oil. And then what's going to happen is when the valve opens, it should be bleeding some of that pressure out into this line here. And I don't know if it's doing that or not. So this should default open. It does. All right, so let's see. I got to get over there super quick when I spawn to see what it does. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get a recording of it. The 12.47, when I fill up the lines, it drops. Need to put it in a reserve. Let's put it in a reserve tank and see what that does. The problem is I don't want to lose oil out of here every time. I could, you know what? I'll put an air burp on there and see if I can drop the air pressure, because the air pressure might be screwing me here. So let's try that. I bet you the air pressure is screwing me, so let's deal with that. So let's get the air, let's bleed the line of air. If I can find the friggin' fluid port there. Okay. Alright, so let's see what it's doing. The problem is that I get the same pressure when I fill up the system. Okay, there we go. So we're at 12.8, so we lost some volume there. That's good. So 12.27. Alright. Let's see. Storage, send. And return. Okay. So the valve's open. We're at 12.2 now instead of 12.4. Hopefully we get this higher. Alright, so that should be... Alright, that drop there as it's cycling. Let's see where we get to. Damn it, it's the same number is the problem. I don't want to... See, the problem is I want to have the trailer always keep the same amount of oil, and I want the tractor to keep the same amount of oil. That's the problem that I am having. Yeah, that's the problem I'm having. I'm going to check meticulously what this number is. That is 12.2727. And then it drops when we open it. See, this works correctly like this, but the problem is when it's a closed system before it gets plugged in, it also reads 12.27. That's the problem. Let's see. Because it's losing pressure because the oil goes into the lines. I don't want to cheat this either. I'm trying to make it actually work with hydraulics. Let me read some chat while I'm thinking about it. How's it going there, Alistair? How are you? How's it going? No, I don't drive them presently. Yeah, you need to be able to slowly apply throttle and brake. You know, when you're driving big equipment, you want to be able to go slow. Again, guys, if you would also watch me on Twitch, I'd appreciate that. I'm trying to get affiliate on that. I need 50 total followers. I'm up to 44 now, but I also need 3 concurrent viewers at a time. I currently only have 1. So I need to get that average up so that I can get affiliate. Once that's locked in, we're good. But I just so if you guys would watch on Twitch as well, I'd appreciate that. That would help me out. All right, so I need a relief on here. Let's get rid of that air burp. That's not really doing what I want it to do. could put a relief tank post valve, but I lose oil in the tractor, which I'm not a fan of. Actually, let's do, see, yeah, I don't want to lose oil in the tractor. That's the thing, is the tractor is not supposed to be giving oil to the trailer every time. So the point is, the trailer, let's say the trailer has 10 liters of oil in it, and the tractor has 10 liters of oil in it. That means that the tractor and trailer, every time they connect and disconnect, they're still going to have 10 liters and 10 liters. The problem becomes when you have, say, 5 liters in the trailer and 10 liters in the tractor will give 5 liters to the trailer, and then when you disconnect, the tractor's lost oil, so that every time the tractor attaches to a new trailer, it continually loses more hydraulic oil, which is not what we want. So one thing I might be able to do is put in an extra, where is it? Oh, do I not even have a tank in here? I don't even have a tank in here. That's the problem. I didn't even put a fucking tank in here. What was I thinking? What was I thinking here? I didn't even put a oil tank in here. Okay. That would do it. Yeah, that would do it right there. The hell was I thinking there? Where am I going to put it? It's the other question. This is a pain in the ass to get it in here, too. Right there it will go. Okay, it will fit right there. I didn't put a feed tank in, so no wonder I'm having problems. I just have a trailer tank, no feed tank. Okay, so I need a feed tank. That will do it. All right, what are you? You are fluid in? Okay. That's no wonder I'm having problems. You know, I don't have a feed tank on the tractor. Yeah, I would really love to see a hydraulic update. I should make that video so that they hopefully they can listen to somebody who has some hydraulic experience and and know what the hell, so they can try to have some coherence to it. All right, so let's test it now. I didn't put a feed tank in. That was a mistake. All right, so the kind of the whole point here is, what did I put here? So, Jesus. All right, so these are both full of oil now. So the problem I was having was, so what's going to happen is this has 10. This should circulate. When we plug in the lines, I'm going to lose pressure, and then I should hopefully regain it because I have a feed tank now. So we got to read the numbers again. Let's see what it does. Because the whole thing is, as I'm adding oil to the system here, I should get a raise in pressure. So we're at 12.4793. All right, and then we should get a drop now because some of the pressure is going to go from the storage return send. Is going to go in these hoses, so we should get a little drop, potentially. Yeah, we may not. We didn't get a drop because now I actually have that tank in there. The tank filled it. Okay, good. So we're not getting that drop there. All right, so let's see. 12.47. Let's get in here and start. Yeah, but a hydraulic update would be really cool. A pneumatics update would be really cool. It's a good way for them to expand upon pressure update. All right, so now we're pumping. All right, and so the oil should be circulating through here. As you see, we're already up to 16.37. When I close the valve, theoretically, this should go up. Yep, there we go. All right, we're working now. Perfect. So the whole problem is I didn't have a feed tank, and I forgot to put the feed tank in. All right, so do you guys understand the mechanics? Let's quickly, I'll do a quick diagram. Let's see, I'm getting a message here somewhere. Yeah, I see. Rasmus sent me a set of doubles in Sweden. Yeah, they use those B trailers in Europe a lot. We don't use them at all in the U.S. All right, so I'll do a quick diagram. Let me just mute out the sound here, showing you how these how this hydraulic system works. And so, you know, you don't want to be donating oil to your implement all the time, because then you run out of oil and you're constantly having to fill your power unit up, which is a pain in the ass, and logistically it's not great. So the way this system works, we'll do some quick diagramming here. All right, so you have a hydraulic tank in the tractor. All right, that's in your power unit. You have one in your trailer. And if you didn't have one in your trailer, the system would still work, but you'd lose it every time you put it in there. All right. And then what we have is we have a piston. All right, so this is simulating a piston. So you have a piston inside to push the dump body up, right? And so the piston, let's get the piston end right there. Now we'll paint a little bit there. Oh, come on, man. I clicked on the one thing I didn't want to. All right, so here's your hydraulic tank in your tractor, and here's your hydraulic tank in your trailer. And so you have oil in both of these cylinders in your hydraulic storage. It's actually red, but this is actually, you know what, it's synthol. Let's color it the color of synthol. So there's your synthol in there. All right. You know, you wouldn't have air in here, so the gap's just to show you it's a liquid. Oh, that's pisser. Thanks, guy. Appreciated. It's going to be annoying today, isn't it? All right, so there's your oil is in here in both your tractor and your trailer, like so. There's your oil. All right. And so what you're doing here is you're pumping in, you're pumping out. So we'll do this, we'll do that. All right, so what you're doing is you have your pump. Just make a circle. So here's your hydraulic pump. All right, and so you're going to have the pump leads back into the sump, which is right here. All right. And then you're going to, let's see, we'd probably pump post sump. So let's go this direction. And so it's going to pull oil out, and it's going to go through here at just a rotary pump. It comes in, and then what it's going to do is it's going to go into this tank. All right. Now, if we don't ever stop if we don't ever have a valve to stop the flow, we then get a return, and the return line comes back, and it goes back to the other end of the sump. So if there's 10 liters in here, and there's 10 liters in here, all right, you can also think of the fluid level is also the pressure. The more fluid you put in there, the higher pressure, right? And so if you circulate it and you never have anything stopping it, you're going to have a liter come out of here and a liter go in there, and then a liter come out of here and go back in here. So it circulates. It always moves. Now, what we're doing here is we put a valve in. And so when we put a valve in, we're stopping it. So when I close the valve, we stop the flow of oil going back to this sump. So now this oil goes down to 8 liters. And this one goes to 12 liters. All right. And so IRL, what you'd be doing is you would also loop in the piston. All right. So the piston also gets looped in. So I should have put this on a layer here. But we'll erase it and I'll fix it. All right, let's get a bucket. I'll put the rest on a layer so we can actually see it. All right, so now what you would do, IRL, is you're going to go from this. So this is pressurized now, right? So you're going to go from here. What was that? 5. All right, so you're going to go from this sump, and you're going to have 2 places that this goes to. One, it goes here, and this is controlled by a valve. And then you have it go up to here, and that's controlled by a valve, okay? And then you're going to have a one-way check valve right here, so it only allows flow in one direction, all right? And then off the one-way check valve, you're going to go back to the sump, all right? And so what's going to happen here is you pump the pressure with, if this valve is open, so let's say this valve is open, all right? If that valve's open, what's going to happen is the liquid's going to go, and it's going to circulate like this. It never goes into the cylinder. It just circulates. All right, circulates. Then you close the valve, so this valve is now closed. All right, when the valve is closed, the oil pressure is going to build up in here, so you have pressure. Now, your one-way check valve, it will go back to the sump. It will go here. It will go here. So it can go everywhere, but then it hits this, it stops. So the pressure builds up. So you get a buildup of pressure. Now what you do is if you want the cylinder to expand, you would open this valve. So you do it with, you know, a handle or some method to actuate the valve. Now they do electronics, electro solenoids. But you'd open the solenoid and the hydraulic fluid comes out of here. All right, and so the hydraulic fluid can fill in on this side, and that will push the piston up. Now, with a dump body, some of them do power down. This is a power down system. You know, you can also do a gravity feed. So, in a gravity feed system, the weight of the dump body is very heavy, right? So, it's pushing down on this with a lot of force. So, this is now pushing down with just the mass of the dump body and whatever's in there. You know, generally, if we raise our trailer, everything's coming out of it. And when we dump it, it's just the weight of the trailer to push it down. So all we need to do to get this oil back out is we would open this valve, right? And when we open that valve, it's going to let the oil come back up through this line. This is a one-way check valve. It only goes one direction, this way. So it's going to come out, and it's going to bypass that and go into here. And then it's going to come back. So if we wanted to drop the trailer, all we have to do is open up this valve. And now the oil can come back out, and it can return to the sump, dropping the pressure, and the cylinder goes down. So that's what my system is essentially simulating, is this. You know, if you had a system like this that was power down, you would also open up this valve, and then it would push the cylinder down because the oil would fill in here. You know, it would fill in on either side of the piston there and push it down. But generally, you don't have that part on these dump bodies because you don't need it. And if you don't need the part, all it's going to do is add the likelihood that something's going to break, right? So it's better not to have it if you don't need it. So you would generally not have a power down on there. You don't need it. All you need is this. Now, you also have tiered hydraulic cylinders. I'll see if I can find a picture of that. And so you definitely can't power down on those. So what they have is they're like a layer cake. So you have cylinder 1. And then you have cylinder 2. And then you have cylinder 3. And then you have cylinder 4. And you have cylinder 5. And all this area underneath here is, let's go to 60. So all of this, so they essentially look like that. They're all sleeves, and they extend. And so what's going to happen is as the oil fills this, it's going to push these out. And so these slide into each other like sleeves, and as the oil goes in, it fills the whole cylinder. These require a ton of oil. There's no valving on the top to push it down. All you do is you open the valve on the bottom again and let it return to the sump. So pretty simple there. Let's see if I can find a quick pic of the telescoping cylinder. Here's a telescoping cylinder right here. That's a telescoping cylinder here. You can see you have the sleeve, and then you have a piston here. This piston has another piston that rides inside of it. So that's telescoping piston. Here's a telescope. That is likely a telescoping piston. I wish we had telescoping pistons in game. Try to see if I can find some more telescoping pistons. Like this one's not. Telescopic hydraulic cylinders. So here's a good, trying to see, like here's one right here. This is a good picture of what they look like, better than my shit drawing. But, so all you're doing here is you notice there's no valve on the top. All right, there should be a valve. This actually, that's a grease fitting right there. So usually they'll put I think it's usually in the bottom. And so all you have is these sleeves slide into one another to telescopes. They all store in this main cylinder. And all you do is fill it with oil. So this whole thing fills with oil. This fills with oil. This fills with oil. This fills with oil. And this fills with oil. And that pushes them all out. This last one might not fill with oil. I don't know. They might just make this one solid. Starting to get pretty thin if you do that. Here's another. Here's a big telescoping hydraulic cylinder. There's another one there. Here's the internals of a telescoping hydraulic cylinder. So again, you can see here all the sleeves. This is a good picture. I like this one. So you can see all the sleeves here, and they just slide on one another. So see the last segment is solid like I thought it is. So this one looks like the valves are actually on the top of this one. So likely what happens, the oil goes through here, and then it goes through the shaft in the center, and then it fills up here. And as it fills up here, it's going to push this one out. And then this one, once the rail here hits the top, it's going to push this sleeve out. And then it's going to push this sleeve out. And then it's going to put this one's the final. So it's going to push those sleeves out and extend the cylinder. I wonder if there's a GIF. Like here's one extended, you can see. But they're kind of neat. Here's one. There's a good cutaway of one. But that's what you'd usually use for those big dump truck operations. Is like here's one right here. You see how big this sucker is? This is why I use telescoping hydraulic cylinders. You see how high that has to go? So you'd need a big oil tank for this because it has to fill all of these cylinders up. Now this one here is solid, but the rest are not. The rest, and you can even see it bending right here. There's a little bend in it. But that fills all with oil and telescopes it. So it'd be cool to have telescoping hydraulics. There's one right there. You can see it. That one, this one is not. That's single stage, non-telescoping. This is telescoping there. Here's a telescoping one there. So those are kind of neat. So that's why I'm like simulating the system. Is I like just make it a little bit more realistic. Yeah, turbos would be nice. Let me catch up where I was. Yes, I saw the link on Discord. Thanks, Rasmus. How's it going there, Sergeant? Good to see you. Can you use an air tank along gas relief valve? You could do something like, you know, the issue is, yeah, I'm trying to think the best way to do it. Essentially, that's what my tank is simulating. So, like this tank right here is essentially simulating the piston. This tank is what has a differential in volume, is this tank. Also the pipes. The pipes here have some slack in them, so the pipes do not spawn with diesel. So any of this pipe going down this rail, any of this pipe right here, this pipe right here, these not really, they all have slack in them, so there's no oil in there. So when I pull in the oil and I have the valve closed, that is simulating the amount of oil that would fill the piston sleeve. So if this is a single stage piston, so if this piston pushes in, right now this sleeve would be full of oil. Okay, right here would be full of oil. When I lower the trailer, that oil is going to come. The piston's going to push the oil back through this, and so that's what this tank is simulating here. This is the tank simulating the volume of the piston is what it's doing. So, you know, and it's also simulating the sump. It's doing two jobs. Now, when I open this valve, what should happen is we built up pressure in here, right? So this pressure built up in here, it's up to 24.9. And when I open this valve, it should let the pressure that's built up here go into this pipe, which is probably empty, these hoses, which are probably empty, and then the other side here, which is probably empty. So when I open this, all right, it's going to let the pressure out and let that drop. Now, the engine's still running. I just have the sound off. But again, so now the pressure has dropped. All right, and when I close the valve again, so now what's happening is the oil is pumping from the tractor through the pipe, through the tank, and all the way back. All right, and it's pumping in a circle, and the pressure can never build up because it's just circulating. Once the valve closes, now it has no place to go, and it goes up, and it would go from there, and it would fill the piston. All right, because it can go. So, like, the system I would have would essentially run through the piston, but it would never get strong enough to push through. Now you open the valve, and now the oil can go through. So this is actually actuated off the pressure of the, in this case, diesel, but oil, you know. So pretty realistic system to run there. Just I had to work the numbers. All right. So it was actually mainly the issue was this friggin' I didn't put a feed tank on there, which I should have. Let's check the numbers, make sure these are working right. All right, 20 is good. We should be good. All right, there we go. All right, so that's all set. This is good. So I had to fix something on the tractor, so let's fix that on the tractor, and then we're good on that. But yeah, I like making more realistic systems. This is like, I get a bunch of people who are like, oh, there's no point to the pressure update or the space DLC because they don't see the pressure update as being useful. But I think the pressure update is very cool. I think it adds a lot of cool things. I think just a lot of people don't have any experience with some of these things, and because of that, they poo-poo the idea because it's cost them more work with what they see as no benefit. But I think there's plenty of benefit there. They just don't realize it. And if they would build some things like air brakes that actually, you know, work realistically, and if they would build, you know, some hydraulic systems that while actually not actuating things, they can simulate it. So you can build a lot of cool simulation things that work the way they should with this. All right, so now this is fixed. So that was just an error with me building the power unit incorrectly. But that is now working with the dump bodies like they should. So, beautiful. Yeah, I'd like them to make turbos work. There's a bunch of things for this. So, you know, again, the devs, this is not their background. You know, the reason why I know a lot about this stuff is I've operated construction equipment, I've operated airplanes, I've operated trucks, you know, and all of these systems having hydraulics, pneumatics, you know, all sorts of different systems, turbofan engines, you know, diesels, you know, and so this is where I got all this experience. Now, during the same period of time, the devs were learning how to code and getting experience coding while I was getting experience doing other things. And so it makes sense that the devs don't know all the minutiae of these things. They have to do some research. And it's like if anyone else did, you know, if you do, you can do research on hydraulics and you will learn how they work, but you won't know how it feels when you pull on the handle of a hydraulic piston. You know, you won't get that. You won't get the stutter effect. You know, why they need hammer valves in there. You know, you won't know that you need to put your foot in the accelerator pedal to get that hydraulic oil moving faster to make the piston go up quicker and to drop quicker. You know, and so there's a difference between like just reading how things work and kind of having some experience with it. So, you know, the devs have talked about how it is helpful for those of us with some experience in these areas to make videos for them. So I'll make a hydraulic pneumatic video, go over some cool things like, really quickly, like the things that I think could be really cool. Let me grab the base plate. And why I think it's a worthy endeavor for them is they can use a lot of the parts we already have in game. They can tweak them. That's important to them, I think. They don't want to add a ton of new parts for a number of reasons, which most of them I agree with, some of them I don't. But, you know, so for example, you can use the impeller. One thing a lot of us have been asking for is you used to be able to, so right here, you have fluid out, you have fluid in, okay? Now, you used to be able to push the fluid backwards and it would move the RPS. So if you take a motor and you move this RPS, it should go fluid in, fluid out, okay? Now, if you move the oil backwards, it should move this RPS connection. It used to do that. It no longer does that. All right. So that's something a bunch of us have wanted. And the reason why I would want a system like that is this is what I would set up. All right. You set up a hydrostatic system. So in a lot of different vehicles, you have hydrostatic drives. So like think of those zero-steer lawnmowers. They use hydrostatic drives. Bobcats use hydrostatic drives. And so what you would do is, let's say this is attached to the wheel of a vehicle, all right, that has a hydrostatic drive, okay? So this is how we would want it to work, all right? And so essentially what you would do is you go like this. And now you have a system like this. And so would it be upside down? It would. Okay. It would be upside down because you'd have to reverse the flow. And so essentially, this is how the system would work. And let's see. I got to put a post on this so we don't lose it. So I'll bring it in the game so you can see it. But essentially you go like this. And what this allows you to do, it doesn't have to be hoses, it could be pipes. But this is essentially how a bobcat works, how a bobcat does zero steer. So you have a hydraulic pump. And so what it's doing is you have in the case of a bobcat, you have a diesel motor. And the diesel motor is turning an impeller. And that impeller is sucking in hydraulic oil, and it's spitting it back out. Now, if the valve is open, it would be a clutch. But so what's going to happen is, as it pumps the oil, it's going to pump it in through this pump, out through this pump. The oil is going to turn the RPS node, and that's going to turn the wheel. And so this is what a lot of us want to work in game, is the ability to do hydraulics and pneumatics. And so you would pump the hydraulic oil in a loop, and that would turn the impeller in here. So this is pushing out the power, the force from the motor, and it is then pushing the liquid. The liquid is then turning the blades, which then turns the wheel. And you would put a clutch on this so you could clutch it in or out, or you'd put a bypass. So the way a bypass would work is, here, let's actually make this system. The problem is a lot of our parts are way, way oversized. That's part of the issue we have here. To make proper systems like this. But this is how you would make it work, say, in a bobcat. All right, so you go like this. You would then need to have a bypass valve. Let's do valve. I'll do a hand valve. It would be easier to show you guys. That's smaller. And then, see, I wish we had smaller one-way check valves. Our one-way valves, our check valves, are way too big. That's problematic too. All right, so like this is how a bobcat essentially works. That would need a one-way check valve on that too. Farts on that, huh? Yeah, that would need a one-way check valve on it too, which is annoying. Again, these are huge. The problem is this stuff gets too big very quickly. Let's forget about the one-way check valves. Let's pretend there are one-way check valves in here. Because that's the problem, is like, I would need one-way valves in all these things, and there are 2 blocks to put a one-way valve where they're tiny, tiny IRL. So like this is how a bobcat would work, simply. And so what you would do here is you're pumping oil right here. And so the oil would come up, it would go through, and if this valve is closed, it would go up, around, up, around, up, around, up, around, and there's a one-way check valve here, okay? And there's also a one-way check valve in here. So the oil can only go this way, and the oil can only go this way. And what happens is you pump oil, and it goes like this in a loop, 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 until you open this valve. When you open the valve, now it goes up here, through there, it spins this, spins the wheel, and then it comes back. And it loops, 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 and it loops. And it spins the wheel. And then you close the valve, and guess what? The wheel doesn't spin anymore. So you go loop, 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 loop. And then you can actually, it's more complicated than that, too. You could come up hydraulic oil up through here, down through here, spin it backwards to go backwards. And then it would come through and back. And so that would be a variable valve on that. And so on a bobcat, let's see if we can get a picture of a bobcat's hydraulic system. Bobcat. Give me a diagram, you scum. All right, there we go. This one, oh, I can actually read this one. Look at that one. We found a picture right off the bat that I can read. All right, so this is the Bobcat's system here. So these here are going to be these look like your hydrostatic drives right here, 10 and 10. I'll verify those are the right parts, but they look like hydrostatic drives there. And then these look like your pumps. And so if you look right here, inside of this square casing here, there's going to be some, actually, let's see. That looks like the hydrostatic drives right here. There's going to be some teeth in here, and what's going to happen is the oil is going to come through one hose, and it's going to come down here, and you can see it goes in here, and it's going to spin this in one direction. Okay. Then the oil is going to come back and return. It's going to go through this one in here into the pump. So the pump circulates it. Oil out, through here, oil back, through here. Okay, that's your system for your left wheels. Okay. And then if you want to go backwards, right, you do it through valving. And so you're going to valve down through this way now, and it's going to go backwards through there. And so that is going to either drive you forward or in reverse. So, and then this is your sump tank here. There's your filter. There's your drain plug. There's your cover for your filler to fill hydraulic oil in there. These are probably your accessory systems. You have accessories for your bucket. Here's an oil cooler right there. All your fittings. But that is how you operate the system here for a Bobcat. Let's see if... So this has the parts numbered. So I want to check part 10. Part 10 is motor assembly. Yep, that's the motor assembly. Yeah, so like that was part 10 motor assembly right there. Eventually, hopefully it shows the picture. I don't think it will. It's not going to show it. All right. Oh, thank you. You're real useful there. Terrible website. But yeah, so that's how the system works. This is a better This is a better picture, actually. Kind of. That's a parts diagram. This is more of a. So this is a hydrostatic flow chart here. Let's see. I have operated a 742 and a 743. Yep. So I've operated both of those. So let's see where we at here. This shows. Looks like. Hydrostatic drive. These look like the drives, and this looks like the pump motor here. So this looks like the pump, and these are the two drives. And so these drives again will operate the wheels. Yeah, these operate the wheels. And then here's your pump. So your pump is pumping the oil out, and you either put it in one side or put it in the other side to move the motor one way or the other. It comes out of here, it goes into the oil cooler, and here's your sump right there. Here's another one. Bigger chart. Same chart, I think, but just bigger, showing the rest of it. And then, let me see, what's 23? So, like, on a Bobcat, okay, so see right here? Stand by. All right, so if you look right here, this is where you would plug all your attachments in. So on a Bobcat, you have a bunch of attachment points, and you can hook in things like buckets, and you can hook in excavators, and you can hook in jackhammers, and you hook in a bunch of hydraulic implements. And so what you do then is, like, see, this is your piston diagram here. Let's zoom in on the piston diagram. So what you do is when you want to, say, hook in a, let's say, a hydraulic excavator attachment to the Bobcat, you plug in your hoses. See these hoses? These are your plugins right here. And you plug them into these ports. And then this is showing you the actual hydraulic pistons. And so this is your piston here, right here. And that is the piston plate. And so the oil goes two places, right? It goes in the bottom of the piston, and then back to the sump. All right? That's right. It goes this way, or it goes this way. It flows both directions. You can tell that by the arrows. The arrows point this way, and they point that way, showing you it's multi-flow. And then the other way you can put in the oil is the oil comes out this way, and it goes into the top of the piston cylinder here to push it back. So let's say this is attached to the main arm of your bucket. You want the arm to go out. You fill the bottom section here, and that's controlled with a valve. So you pull on the, in the case of a Bobcat, it depends. If it's for your bucket, it would be your feet. If it was, this might be arm and, yeah, this could be the arm and the bucket. So let's say there's arm and bucket, and then you do have your attach points. You can do this. So like if you took the bucket off, you would then be able to put on your excavator. But let's say it's just arms and bucket for this case, because I think it has one bucket piston, two arm pistons. And so if you want to put your arms up, I can't remember if it's the left or the right pedal. I think it's the left pedal does arms. And so you'd step in your left pedal. And depending on which way you push the pedal, if you want the arms to go up, let's say you push down on the pedal, the oil is going to come out. It's going to go to the bottom of the cylinders, Going to push these piston arms out, which pushes your arms of your Bobcat up. Then if you want the arms to come down, this is a powered down system. So you can actually push oil in the top of the cylinder to push the arms down. This is how you dig a hole. You need to have down pressure. So you notice the oil then would come from this blue line up here into the top of the cylinders. It would push the cylinder back down. That force pushes the oil back to the sump. So it opens the valve. It closes the valve from the pump, but it opens the valve to the sump. And then now on this side, the valve from the pump is open, and the valve to the sump is closed, and it goes in here. Now, if you want to extend it again, it would open the valve from the pump and close the valve from the sump, fill these two up, and then this one would push this oil back. The valve is now open to the sump, and it pushes it back into the sump. So pretty simple there. What is this? This must be accessories, and this is... So this here is your sump line right here, it looks like, going back to the sump. Yeah, that goes back to the sump. So your sump is just a big tank full of oil. And, oh my God, look at this. The so annoying part of the pressurization update. What do you think this curly Q is all about? This curly Q is an air vent. It's a curly Q so you don't get rain in there. All right, it curls like this so that the water, when it rains, doesn't come in. And what this allows to happen is it allows the air to exchange. And so as the oil comes out of here, right, you need to fill this empty void with air. As the oil returns to the sump and fills it up, right, you need to be able to push that air out. You know, so this is the whole, again, you know, people acted like this was some sort of fantasy, but that right there, that's the air vent for your hydraulic sump right there. So there's a reason why those things are on there. And there's a reason why it's very important on hydraulic systems. Like if you ever had to bleed your brakes or have your brakes bled, you don't want any air getting in here. So your sump end line should be below the height of the oil. Or you could get air coming back in and fouling your system. You also want your feed line here to be below the level of the oil. Or you're going to get air in here and you're going to get bubbles in and you're going to get squishy ass controls. So if that happens, you have to then go bleed your system and get the air out of there. So pretty neat. But I would love it if they added that. So I'll do like a detailed video like this showing the devs how we can do it. And like the thing that I think will make the devs more willing to do this is you need to show them that, hey, we can use these parts we currently have and we can make these things work. You know, what I would like them to do is do internal valving. And so essentially what you'd have to do, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. You know, you'd have to make the case to the devs that this is something that could be done that would be useful, you know. And so like to make this actually work in game, oh my God, it'd be huge. But like let's make this actually work in game theoretically. The problem is these are one-way valves. These valves, they should work omnidirectionally if you're going to make it work with a hydraulic system like this. What do we need? 3? We need 3. So like this would be the size this would have to be to work in game. So they'd have to have like a valve node, which I think would be a great addition, like a small 1x1 block with a bunch of hoses on it, and you control, kind of think of it like the RCS, right? You can control which direction the RCS shoots air out of via composite, and it's just one block. So this is how, this is going to get huge real quick. This is the problem like I'm talking about. This gets big real quick. Like, you know, this is why these systems are challenging in game, is unless we get like a proper valve block, we're really kind of screwed on the way we have to do this. All right, that is going to be... I need to put a sump in there somewhere. Say the sump is here. Okay, so this would shiza. I need a sump block there. All right, so I think this one should be able to do everything. So this is like looking at what you'd need for this system to work. So let's say the flow of travel is from the pump, it comes this way. All right, so now let's say you wanted to make the wheel move forward. You want to go forward in your Bobcat, okay? So you go like this, you open this valve, and it travels through here. It spins this in the forward direction. It then comes down here. This valve is open. This valve is closed. This valve is open. It comes back, and it cycles through like this, and it turns your wheel going forward, okay? Now you want to go backwards. Okay, shit. I'd need a separate run coming over here. Like, this is why it gets really big, is, again, you know, IRL, you're using tiny little hoses, and the valves can be like, you can fit a valve in your hand. Here, the valves are, you know, 1/2 meter long, and that's where your problem gets with the game, is the gamification of it makes everything big. Because, like, so that's fine. That's the way you would go to get the wheels to move in the forward direction. The problem is now to move them backwards. Shit. Yeah, you'd essentially have to come, you would pump this way. You'd then have to come down here. I'd have to have this valve would be closed. This one would be open. This would be closed. And then you'd come through here. And then I'd have to have a separate T-junction here, which would then run back to the sump. So it's kind of a nightmare trying to valve all this out. This is how much valving you would need. Like you saw the hydraulic diagram. You need all those components to make it work. So it's a ton of stuff you'd need. Yeah, it's a hydraulic explanation of how a hydrostatic drive would work. Now, this is how you could do it in-game and make it work easier. So this is how I would gamify it. So again, that's what the devs need to hear. How do you gamify this? How do you take this complicated system that's too big and is never going to work, and how do you make it so that it works in-game? And the answer is, I think, reasonably simple here. This is how you make it work in-game and be reasonable. All right. So to make this work in-game and to have it be reasonable, you do this, okay? And what you do is you make it so that when you would have to have a special impeller, okay? Let's call it, I don't know, a hydraulic impeller, okay? And the problem with these impellers is they leak. So, you know, it always leaks around here. So you'd have to make them one-way check valves. And the way this would work, the way you can make this simply work in game is if you turn the motor positive, it would send oil up here, through here, and then down here, which would turn the wheel forward. If you turn this motor backwards, you fed it a negative number, the oil would then come this way, up through here, and return. And that would turn the wheel backwards. That would be how you would have to gamify it. So it's actually not that complicated, but the devs would have to add new parts. They would have to add impellers that could go forward and backwards and not leak. And so they could add an extra block and then make it so that the oil actually will turn the RPS node. Now, this is exactly how you would make this work with a... let me show you how a turbo works. So a lot of people have been asking for turbos. I agree, we should have turbos. This is how you make a turbo work, okay? So we take an impeller. All right, let's go. Fuck off. Let's go this direction. All right, so I'll show you how an impeller works, and we'll move on from there. All right, so the two RPS nodes are touching, okay? And so you have two things. One is going to be pumping air into the engine. The other is pumping exhaust out of the engine, okay? So let's go ahead and quickly... Give me the block, you scum. All right, where's the belt drive? All right, so here is your cylinder. Okay, there is your engine. All right. Now, to make a turbo work, the way a turbo works is pretty simple, right? You take an exhaust, and the exhaust is what moves the, it's what moves the turbine. So you have, let's get rid of symmetry. So this is how a turbo works, all right? And so it goes like this, and the exhaust pressure, the pressure caused by the exhaust, because, right, the piston is pushing the exhaust out, the valve's open, it pushes the exhaust out. So it has some pressure. and it comes out like this, and it goes in here, and it spins this turbine. All right, and as the turbine spins, it is shaft connected to the impeller for the turbo. All right, and then what you do is you take, this is the exhaust gas coming out here. You put a catalytic converter on there, and you put an exhaust pipe on there. This is what a turbo is. All right, very simple. All right, so the pressurized gas comes out of the cylinder. It comes through. It spins up a turbine. It comes out, and it goes out into the air, giving us cancer. And then what you do over here is, let's see, which is in and out? In. Okay, let's turn this 90 degrees. All right, so then what you have is you have air go in here. So we take an air filter just to demonstrate that it's air. And so as the exhaust gas goes, as the exhaust gas goes through here, it spins the impeller, which spins the turbine, which spins the impeller. All right, and the impeller draws in air. It sucks the air in here. It's a single stage axial centrifugal impeller. All right, and then you go to, all right, so that pressurizes the air. It spins it up. It sucks more air in. It packs more air in. It increases air density, which allows you to burn more fuel, which allows you to have more power. And so this is exactly how a turbo works IRL. Exhaust comes out, spins up the turbine, goes out. That spun up turbine is shaft driven and spins the impeller. The impeller takes in air. The air is pressurized and comes out here, goes into the engine. So that's how a turbo works IRL. Now, in order for them to make this work in game, I think all they really have to do to make hydraulics and pneumatics work is that the issue is this: they can't leak. They have to make a system, and I think they should make a new block. It's the exact same as the impeller, but it goes both directions. It's omnidirectional, so instead of having a fluid in, fluid out, it would have a fluid A, fluid B. And then the impeller should not leak. All right. And so what this will allow you to do is you can push the exhaust gas out here. Let's say it goes inside B and it comes outside A and it goes out. All right. This would be the opposite, right? So it would come inside A and go outside B. All right. And so you would just flip the same piece upside down. Now, the reason why you can't have this one actually wouldn't be, this would be all right if this leaked. Leaking would be fine on this system because once you pressurize it, it would spin and you'd be fine. So leaking actually isn't a problem on this one. It would be on hydraulics because you need to be able to run it backwards and you need it not to leak oil. That's the key with that. You need it to be able to stop. So, you know, what they could do is they actually, do we care about leakage? We actually don't care about leakage. I don't think we care about leakage because they would have to add a different block, but instead of adding multiple blocks, they could give us the same impeller, just side A, side B, so omnidirectional. That would work with turbos. That would work with superchargers. The difference with a supercharger is this, right? A supercharger is not magic. A supercharger is this, right? This is how a supercharger works, all right? You just take, we already have superchargers, all right? You just take a, you can do supercharging now. They did break part of it, but this is how a supercharger works, essentially. That's all a supercharger is. The power of the engine spins the impeller to suck in air and compress it. That's it. That's the only difference. In order to do hydraulics properly, you'd have to have a hydrostatic drive, and that would be one-way flow AB, and that would work perfectly. That would be it. One-way flow AB, and that would work perfectly. So I think, you know, if I can do a good write-up, see, the things that the devs need that will help them decide if they're going to add a feature is you need to show them that they can use mostly the parts and the mechanics we already have in game. Because, like, people will easily say, like, oh, just add this, just add this, just add this. Well, in that 10 seconds of asking for things, you've just given them 3 years of work. And whatever they're already working on for those 3 years is now, like, they have to finish that first before they can get to your 3 years of work. And so it's very easy to give them 3 years of work. It's much, much harder to actually do the work, of course, right? It's easy to conceptualize things. It's hard to give them work. So what you need to show them is this can be done quickly and easily. We can use mostly the parts and the mechanics we have in game. When the devs have to change a mechanic in the game, remember what happened when we asked for moon pools, right? We asked for moon pools for a period of time. It broke sinking ship survival, which pissed off a lot of people, right? So by adding new mechanics, sometimes they can break old mechanics, and that can make part of the community disgruntled. So obviously they want to minimize that or not do it at all, right? They don't want to break mechanics to bring in new mechanics. So if you can demonstrate to them how this is not going to break old mechanics, it's not going to take away anyone's gameplay by adding this gameplay, this is just a pure add, not a subtraction, that is probably pretty enticing to them. If you can show them that they can do it with a minimal amount of new parts, right? For a number of reasons, they don't want new parts. One of it is the bigger your vehicle file, the harder it is for the game to run it. They talked about that in the Q&A. If your vehicle file is huge, it's very hard to run it in the game, and that can stand by. That can lead to lag and other problems. So, like, I'll bring it up real quick. I'll look at my vehicles folder. But, you know, so that's the other problem. So that's why, like, when the devs talk about they don't want to add new parts, some people are like, yeah, but they then added this part. Yeah, they don't want to add an infinite number of new parts. There are certain parts they already have planned. There are certain parts they decided that have more benefit than drawback. But they can't add an infinite number of parts because your vehicle file gets too big. The system has problems reading that much data, and that's why you get slowdown, is the game needs to slow down time in order to read everything it needs to read. So, for example, on Triton, let's see the file size on Triton. Triton gives me that message. Triton is at 7.87 megabytes. Okay. Let's see how big the Patney is. 99 kilobytes. All right. So, what was it, 7.87? Let's see. So the Patney is 99 kilobytes, and Triton is 7.87 megabytes. All right, so that kind of shows you why, you know, when Deltars talks about he doesn't want to add too many parts, he doesn't want to swell vehicle sizes, there are limitations by the engine the game is in, which they didn't build. It was another engine. There's limitations there. The game can only read so much data so fast, and because it can't read the data that fast, it slows it down. So, like, you could have a lot of Patneys. What's the conversion megabytes to kilobytes? Is it 100? Megabyte to kilobyte. Mega's 100, I believe, and kilo's 1,000, right? Oh, it's a 1,000th. It is a 1,000th move. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. So 7.8. Oh my God, calculator, turn on. All right, 7,800. So that'd be what is it? 0.99 on the Patney. I know you guys can't see this, but no, 99 divided by 7,800. 7,800. Jesus Christ! If I could type, we'd be in great shape. All right, so that's Triton is 78 times the file size of the Patney, and so to put that in perspective, you know, theoretically, I could have 78 Patneys in the world for the same hit to my performance that one Triton has. And so, like, when you hear people complain that they can't put 22 Titanics all in close proximity, oh my God, the game sucks. Of course you can't. The game's not designed for that. It can't, you know, it just can't do it. And so it makes sense. Like this here, let's launch the Patney. So I understand why they don't want to add too many parts, because that adds complexity, increases file size, and then you have issues. So that dropped in. Notice, no problems. Yay, no problems. Okay, let's bring that back. Okay, and then let's bring in Triton, and you'll see the difference of what happens to the game. Because of part of it is this doesn't do many physics calculations either, but Triton does both a lot of physics calculations plus the file size is huge. Okay. So watch the game now when this comes in. So I get warnings, performance warnings, right? It's got a lot more moving parts. You'd notice the world slowed down. We're at 37 logic frames. Okay. Let's see if I can catch it on a load in and see what it does. See, like, I'm even slowing down going in and out of the workbench because this is frankly more than the game can and should be able to handle. All right. So we get a big drop off there. It was up at 50. Now it's at like 36. It'll probably get better when we get away from dock, but that's not the test we're doing. All right, so there we are. We're around 50. We're down to 37 FPS on there. Okay. So let's keep that up, actually. Let's grab this out. So see, it takes it a second to even recall it to the base. Let's grab the patentee. All right. It went from 45 to 63 or 62. It went up. So the difference you can see between the patentee and Triton is that's the reason why they talk about these limitations is, you know, people want to act like, you know, they can just magically, oh, optimize your game. It's like, dude, like part of it's optimize your build, but it's also like you can't expect unreasonable and unrealistic things. Is, you know, you build huge shit. It's going to take a lot of resources. Like, here, let's do another quick test. I'm going to bring up my processes here. All right, so currently sitting here idle, we're running at, let me see, do I have GPU? Like GPU, where's performance monitor there? All right, GPU, I'm using 44% of my GPU sitting here static. I'm using 44% of my CPU sitting here static, okay? So, and I have a good CPU and I have a good GPU. Here's patentee coming in the world, all right? I'm going to spawn it, see what happens. So currently, before I press the button here, now the editor is pretty low on resource use because it's literally visualizing nothing, right? And so it's going to have a big jump. So we had 44, 44. Currently, I'm at 2933. Spawn the patentee. All right, we just hit 60, 96% for a second there. So I spiked at 96% for a second as it dropped in. There's always going to be a slowdown when you drop a vehicle in, right? It's loading all of the logic for it. So now we're at around, a little bit higher, like 2% more on my CPU, up to like 5% more, and around actually the same on the GPU because I think the CPU took some of the load. All right, I got to go down and get that. Right. So let's go ahead and take Triton in and see what happens to my GPU and my CPU on that. Just kind of like a test here. All right, let's grab Triton. I think Triton's my most killer here. All right, so 44, 44 was our baseline. All right, let's launch. It's even like thinking there. All right, 94% CPU. GPU jumped a little bit, but not much. All right, so now my CPU is up a little bit. It's actually up, not up that much. It's up a couple percentage. And my GPU is up, I would say, between 2 and 4% with Triton running. And that's with good stuff. That's with good parts on my computer. And that's why we get a slowdown is there's a lot of calculations going on here. You notice we do go down in logic frames as the logic is having to do it. It's like these are the tests people need to do to see what's going on. Like right now my CPU just spiked again, 53%. So that's what some of these people need to do when they complain about some of these things is like check your check what's going on with your GPU, CPU at the time. If you bang off 90% the whole time, you're probably capping out your CPU. If you're banging off your GPU, you're probably capping off that. One of the reasons I don't have these problems is I have a really good CPU and a GPU, and so like my CPU hits 52% running around Triton here. And if somebody keeps hitting 100%, well, guess what? You're barely going to be able to play, And so that's some of the things people need to think about. And I understand when people complain about like needing a boss PC for these things. Well, like at the end of the day, it's your issue. You don't have the PC to run the systems. So let's launch a second Triton and see what happens. All right, we capped out there for a second. All right, we're definitely slowed down here a little bit. So we're down to 20 FPS logic frames. Again, the game is slowing down so that the logic is not out of place. And I know people hate the slowdown, but my understanding of why we have a slowdown is, imagine if the logic of your crane was moving at, say, 80% normal speed, but the game simulation was moving at 100%. That means you would sit there and you'd push on the left key to start moving your crane, and it wouldn't move. And then it would start to move. And then you would let go of it, and it would keep moving. And then it would stop. And that would be annoying. So what happens is the game slows down to match the logic speed. So the whole game is moving slower now, right? Like you see me walking. I'm moving slower, walking. All right, I'm in slow-mo. But when I press on my crane, the crane is going to be matching, generally, my speed. So we're both at the same speed. So yes, everything is in slowdown, but the logic is running at the same rate that that your character is running at. So you don't outrun the logic, and that makes sense, right? You don't want to outrun the logic where your car is coming up to a turn, and you push right for the wheels to turn right, and you pass the turn, and then the wheels turn right. It would be better if the whole game was slowed down. So you're in slow-mo coming up to the turn, you push the wheels, and the wheels turn at the same rate the car is moving, and then you turn right. So, you know, it slows you down, but then everything is at least in sync. And that's what I think the reason why we get these slow-mos, and why I know people bitch about it, but the reason is because it's the lesser of two evils to have both the simulation speed and the logic running at the same rate than just having, you know, the logic run slower, because it would be out of alignment, and you want it in alignment so that when I jump, you know, yes, I'm moving slower, but all the logic is at the same rate that I am, you know, because you would have huge problems if you didn't do that. But like right now, my GPU is only up to 48%. My CPU is at 41%, you know, but we get that big slowdown because the logic is the issue right here. You know, we're at 20 FPS logic frames. You know, it hit 14 for a second there, I think. 19. But yeah, so that's, you know, that's kind of, I don't know why I got on that side topic there, but I did. I thought I recalled you completely. I did not. I respawned you. So like that's when you're talking about like some of this optimization performance stuff. Like you need to optimize a lot of your build yourself. It's you can't just like magically say it to them as like, you know, the logic is you're designing the logic. It has to slow it down, or else the world and the logic will be out of sync, and then that would be very ugly. All right, let's catch up on chat here. Chat is good. All right, let's see what we want to do next here. I gotta watch the time here. I got an appointment in a little while, but I do have some time. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna take a quick coffee break. I can barely speak. My throat's closing up, so let me quickly take allergy and a coffee, and I'll be right back with you guys, and we can work on some more building. All right, so I have returned. Oh, good. We got a little bit more chat here. That makes sense, Rasmus. Yeah, I don't know much about the network and all that stuff. A lot of it's just assumptions on my part, but you know, like it's I think some of that makes a little bit of sense where, you know, you talk about like, you know, you have to, if you slow down things at the same rate, I'm trying to think of the way to put it, like you know, think about like jumping on the moon, right? You fall more slowly. And you can tell it's and I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. Yeah, it's like you fall more slowly as you jump on the moon. And so your brain is still working at max speed. That's how you know that you're falling slowly, is because your brain's still working at max speed. Now imagine your brain slows down and your reflex time slows down of your brain. Your brain is the logic in this case. As your brain slows down, it now matches the speed at which you fall. And so you're still able to operate perfectly on the moon. Now imagine... like, for example, think of old people, why old people fall. A big reason why old people fall is their logic center, right? Their brain is starting to think more slowly in some of these things. So they start to lose balance. When they were young, their brain would quickly have their body adjust to remain in balance. As people get older, that reflex of making sure you maintain your own balance is slowed down. Their logic is slowed down, and so now as their logic slows down, they start to tip over, and they don't correct quick enough, and they end up getting to the point where they fall over, and they can't catch themselves. They eventually realize they're falling over, but it's too late at that point. They don't have the strength to counteract the movement, so yeah. So let's go ahead. I want to look at some pictures here. I'm thinking of building a new tractor up to modern-day standards. Again, I'm trying to do the new T-TIS system here. And so I think I'm going to build a new truck that we can use too. I've been in a building mood lately. I've not been in too much of a career mood, so I'm going to try to get all the building done for multiplayer as well, and so I want to do that. So let's look at some of these Australian road trains. Maybe we'll do, you know, if this is all ready, we could go and do aluminum first, but I believe like some of these are aluminum runners. So that's an old Kenworth. I don't know what model it is. I think I want to do it a big American hood. That is a Mack. That's is it a Mack? It looks like a Mack hood. I can't tell. They do badge them differently when they're in different countries too. So that is, I like that Kenworth. That's a cool Kenworth. In real life, I do not like Kenworths. Like, well, it depends. Let's put it this way. What is it, T800? T800s, I hate. But you get an up-spec truck, it's nice. You get a low-spec truck, it's crap, you know. But like a base model Mack is nicer than a base model Kenworth. I absolutely abhor the Kenworths. I was thinking of, here's a nice Volvo. I was thinking I want dual steer axles. This is probably... Is this an aluminum truck? This may be an aluminum truck. Well, I'll have to look up what Pilbara, what they mine there. But these are side dumps. Yeah, you see the big hydraulic piston there? Those are side dumps. It has twin steer on it. Triples on the back. That's the first time I've been on Reddit in a while. So I got a message. I'm not even going to read it. That's a big stack Kenworth there. Mostly Kenny's, it looks like. I know they have some Macks. Kenworth, a lot of Kenworths. Kenworth must have gone down there and done a lot of business. There's a Volvo. Looks like another Kenworth. Nope, Western Star. That's a Western Star. Who owns Western Star? I can't remember. I forget who owns Western Star. Let's ask. I thought it was Kenworth. Daimler, and who does Daimler own? Freightliner. Okay, so Freightliner, Western Star. They have Detroit. Yeah, they put Detroit diesels in all their trucks. So it's, yeah. Oh, do they own? Okay, no, that's people also search for. Okay, it's Western Star. It's Freightliner. I've never driven a Western Star. Western Star is kind of cool. Thinking more flat square. I already have my cab over. I want to upgrade that. So what I want to kind of do is get all these systems in place. I would also like a Volvo, but I already have a cab over, and I do not have a flat square hood. So I'm thinking of something like that. Trying to find one that tickles my fancy. This is that a Mac? That's a Mac, baby. That's a Mac R. That's a Mac R right there. I already have a Mac R. Pirate noises. What is that? That is non-specific, Peterbilt looking John. That's a Kenworth. Ugh, so many Kenworths make me puke. Some of the I think the W900s are nice, but there's a Western Star. The Western Star is kind of snazzy. I'm kind of looking for. I want something that's like over the top. Is kind of what I'm thinking. What is that? That a Western Star? I can't tell. Cannot tell. That is. I can't tell. Not badge. That is a Peterbilt. Can't see. The picture's too freaking small. Okay. There it is. No, it's Kenworth. That's a cool one. Double steers on it. Is that a Mackie? I can't tell. Jesus, I keep clicking on the picture. I won't do it. Yep, that's a Mac right there. You know, they have, you can tell often by the hood shapes what they're going to look like. They have their own very unique hood shapes. That could be I think it's a Peter or Ken. I can't tell. The badging's like Peterbilt badge. They have a Peterbilt badge that looks like a Kenworth as well. I was trying to see if I could see it. On the old cab overs, they had them. There's a Scania. I do like the Scanias and everything else, but I've already done a cab over, so I'm leaning more towards a big-ass hood. Plus, I don't want to have to try... Ooh, this is a neat one. Underground truck there. There's a Mac right here. That's kind of... I already built this road train based off the Mac. The Western Star kind of has me. Trying to see. They don't have that many. It looks like... That's like another Kenworth Max right here. Mac, Western Star. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That's a Kenny, which is gross, but I like the... Oh, fuck off with the picture. There it is. Get rid of all these other ones. This is a Kenworth, which is gross, but this has double steers on it. There's a Pinnacle. Looks like a Pinnacle. Yeah, it's a Pinnacle. Here's a Mac. That's a Mac R. That's this is the Australian spec Mac. I forget what model that is. Western Star, Kenworth. Kenworth, a lot of Kenworth. Kenworth is big down there apparently. Kenworth. There's a Merc. There's a Mercedes. That Actros? I don't know. The other thing I was thinking is doing a Zetros. You could look up Zetros. Let's see. Zetros is kind of cool because I want to be able. I need to load it. Don't need to load the road train on, but a Zetros for doing. I was thinking of a Zetros for when we need to take the trailers off of the train. Use a Zetros to move them around. So I might do a Zetros because they're designed to do off-road work. They're kind of cool looking. There's another Merc. It looks like a Mac. I can't tell. Maybe not. I'm looking at the hood now. It doesn't look like a Mac. Volvo would be kind of cool. Here's a twin steer Kenworth. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards a big ass nose though. So the other thing I was thinking is look up some Canadian log trucks. Some of those are damn cute. Those are damn sexy. Let's see. Yeah, like Canadian log trucks are really beef cannons. Like this one here. That's a Hayes, I believe. That's a Peterbilt. Ken. Western Star. Kind of leaning more towards something like that. Like that is just damn girl, you know. Bunch of bull bars and stuff on top there. Here's Edison. I think that's like a Hayes water truck. Yeah, I was trying to get some inspiration on this. Might not build it from scratch. I might part some stuff out. I'm trying to decide how I want to do this because I need to upgrade them. I might start with upgrading a couple tractors. Let's do that. Let's start by upgrading a couple tractors. I know it's less fun than starting something new, but I don't want to like run into a big project and then have to try to fix it because there's certain things I need to work on to get them to operate with the new systems I'm making. And I don't want to go way overboard. So let's start with the Mac R. And we will upgrade that. Oh, Pacifics. Yeah, let me look up Pacific. Some of those Canadian log trucks, I couldn't think of the names. Here's Pacific trucks here. Let's look at those. Yeah, like these are all off-highway logging trucks. All the Pacifics there. They are Pacifics. I was thinking some were Hayes. They're not the Pacifics. Hayes was just the name I saw on the bumper. Couldn't think of the name. Oh, thanks, Rasmus. Yeah, I like the Pacifics. Let's play with the Mac R for now, because I got some time, but I got like an hour until I gotta get going. But let's grab that and let's upgrade that to current spec. And then I think I'll go through all my trucks and kind of upgrade them to current spec before I go ahead and do something brand spanking new. Like this one's set up to be my off-road Johnny. It's low top. It's got a drop axle on it. So that works well. So this needs Titus Mark II. It needs the new hydraulic pump for dumping. You know, some trucks, they don't have hydraulic systems on them. They're not made for dumping. You know, I've never driven one with a hydraulic system built in like that. You could have electric switches for them and then the system on the trailer, but that's not the type of work I did. But like something like this would have PTO-driven system. So let's see if we can get the systems in there. So this needs new air stuff. And then I'd love to build a new truck, but I want to get at it when we're kind of ready for it. So let's go ahead and let's actually start by getting this. I want to rip off systems. I want to make modules. So let's see what we can do here. Let's grab, so the Harvester Semi is actually my most up-to-date system. It has T-TIS 2. It has T-TIS 2, and it has a bunch of the systems I need. Air brakes. It has hydraulic system. So I want to pull out all the parts, and then we can go from there. See what that looks. Where's that going there? What is this doing here? Why did I plumb into this? I don't know why I plumbed into this. That's silly. Oh no, is that the regular plug-in? Oh no, that is air supply. Okay, that's where that's supposed to be. Okay. All right, let's get all of this. All right. Let's actually cut it. And I'm trying to make all the modules work here. Yeah, I want to be able to drop these modules right in, so I need to kind of clean things up. So there's current air brake module, and then let's get the parts for it. So that goes to, that's just a plug-in, that's fine. And then we have right here, okay. So that there is the air brakes microcontroller. So this is the most up-to-date one I have. Okay, and then we need the brake control panel, which is here. All right, so I think that is it for air brakes. We have the panel, we have the systems running through. I think that's about it. All right, good. Let's grab all this and so this is the most up-to-date air brake stuff. And that should be good to go so that I can upgrade all my trucks with air brakes by just taking this, installing it, and Bob's your uncle. Let's go ahead and the dangerous color swap. Okay. All right, so that's the new upgraded air brakes right there. That's done. Okay, let's grab that back, and we will pull the... So that's the brake module. Where's... so that was TTIS, right? Did I grab TTIS? Okay, TTIS is plugging right in the brake module, so that's fine. And then what else do I need? The hydraulic system, which is dead simple. The nice thing with this, the reason why I went with this hydraulic system at the end of the day, it is super simple. Like, I literally, before I had to put a button, and so anytime I wanted to make a tractor a system like that, I had to add the button. Now, god damn it, I didn't mean to do that. Now I don't have to add a button, I don't have to add a panel, I don't have to add any logic to the tractor. It's literally a mechanical system where it's all just hydraulic pumping. And that is super beneficial because I don't have to add anything to the tractor, period, except the pump, the reserve tank, and all that. I don't have to add it. All right, so let's cut that. Like, this has no microcontroller with it, which is frickin' fantastic. What are you hooking into? You're nonsense, 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 nonsense. Okay. That's coolant bullshit. That goes. All right, good. So that's... So all that goes, essentially. I could pare some stuff down if it needs it. But that is essentially the hydraulic pumping system for the trailers. So that's why it kind of took me a little while to get that figured out, because I wanted it to be where it was a completely mechanical system, no real logic on it, and that way, you know, the only thing you have is that valve on the trailer. Go do it. Now, if I wanted to put a button in, I could do an electric valve on trailers. So that's something I could do, but I don't need to do it. All right, so this is going to be... And so this can actually be used on a bunch of different builds. They just need to be tuned in differently because it's just going to pump hydraulic oil. All right, beautiful. So that's in. All right, let's grab the Mac-R and try to install all this. Some of it's going to be a pain to fit it in there, but we'll do our best. Let's see. So let's get the air brakes in first. I'll delete out some of the old fake air brake parts and put in all new proper stuff here. All right, and we'll see if we can fit in there. if I can go 3 across, we can stick it in there. I can go 2 across. Cut a frame rail if I need to, but I don't rather not have to. Alright, get the frame rails aren't connected, which is kind of gross, but 1, 2, 3 on this side. Oh yeah, it'll fit on the right side. That should fit on the right. That should fit on the left side too. Does it? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it should fit on this left side. Let's see. I don't want it hanging down too much, so I gotta kind of figure out how we do this. You know, ideally this would be run by the motor, which I could add that in certain builds, but at the present it's kind of a pain in the ass to do that. So that's why the electric, this electric pump's kind of a pain in the ass, but like everything's tough to, I'd have to do a lot of piping because it should be engine driven off of a belt drive, but that just takes up a ton of space. I might put different tanks on this that are a little bit smaller. Might redo the tanks on this. Let's redo the tanks on this. Not a huge fan of those tanks anyway. That gives me a ton of space to plumb some of the stuff in. Alright, and then that goes like that. Alright, so that's good. Let's see where we're at here. This is a filler. Okay. Alright, so let's leave that like that. That is fuel there. This is plug-in for air. I'm doing different. Like, this is the way you should be doing off a hanger for your lines, but I'm probably going to change that up because it's problematic now that I'm doing air lines too, because I need the air brakes lines too. So let's go straight up there. Let's get rid of symmetry before we cut something I don't want to. So like this is a more physicalized system now too. Shit, gotta be plugged in there. So that is going to be the airline there. Which one's got the logic? This one has logic. Let's switch that over to here. Let's actually make those, yeah, let's do them like that. Alright, so there is now air and light cord. Alright, we'll do fresh tanks on this. I need to put in, I can copy the name, air supply. Okay, that can go now. Check the brake panel here. So this is the brake panel here. That's going to be completely different now. See how it loops in? That's going to be a nightmare to loop back and fix that. So I have to work on that. And I need to put in the hydraulic system. All right, hydraulic system's a little bit cumbersome here, so let's see where it can go. Oof. Oof, this is a tough build to work with. What's that? What are the... Oh, those are... it's fire extinguishers. Alright, screw it. Don't really need that. Later, let's go back and see if I can put this PTO in somewhere. We'll put it across the dash here. Alright, where did I put the hydraulic system? Alright, send, return, send, return. I forget which side is which, but I can flip them as necessary. So I'm trying to see where this PTO system can go in. That is gearbox there. So I can't go right under there. That's shit, that's a pain in the ass, that. I can put hangers up here. Yeah, I can put hangers here. So hanger, hanger. Yeah. I'm gonna move the exhaust, I think. Is that actual exhaust there? That is probably actual. Yep, that's actual exhaust right there. Okay, so I'm gonna cut the exhaust in here. Okay. It's gonna completely fuck me, isn't it? Ah. Let's build a new exhaust pipe here. Yeah, it'd be nice to build a new truck, but it's gonna be a lot of work, and I kind of want to see what these things are gonna do first. There should be more decoration pieces. Like, that's kind of tough sometimes to get all the decorative pieces in I want. Do I just do it and build a damn new truck? I'm trying to think. Build a new truck. I know. All over the place, but kind of I think that's going to be the best bet. It's becoming a big pain in the ass to not build a new truck. It's going to be hard to retrofit a bunch of this shit. Let's see what I have for my chassis here. Let's go to the 18. Did I make an 18-speed chassis? I did not. Never got to the 18-speed, huh? All right, let's grab an 18. Right, here we go. Eaton Fuller 18-speed chassis backup. Okay, I made one. All right. So here's the chassis, and then I'll delete out what I don't want. So. And I'm trying to make a new standard here, so I'll go through a bunch of this shit. What do we have here? This is Eaton 18 Pinnacle steering. Doors. Okay, what is it in this? That is T-TIS tractor. That's going. What are you? You are fifth wheel release. That's staying. This is engine pass-through. I'm gonna rewrite all this. I know it's annoying, but it's gonna be needs to be done. I think it really needs to be done to get this to be its best self. I want new tanks. Yeah, I think that's going to be helpful getting in there and getting something. Not my favorite to start over here, but I'm starting to really change up a lot of these systems. It is going to be helpful to do. All right, it's got the 18 in it. It's got the motor in there. I just nixed everything, but rewrite the panel because some of the stuff is getting old, and like I've changed some of the way I do some of the stuff, improving on it all the time, and so I want to kind of get something modern that I don't be like, why did I do that? And then it's an absolute disaster work to the microcontrollers. So, and plus a lot of stuff, this stuff was pre-physics sensor too, which is tough. Yeah, I really like the Scania Citrus. You know, like a lot of this stuff is just, you know, like the physics sensor was a big addition because it really shrinks down what you need for a lot of the stuff. So it was like before you had to add linear speed gauge and angular speed gauge and all this. Now you have the physics sensor and it pretty much takes care of most of that. It's really helpful, you know. All right, so we're going to get in the stormworks basics modular engine. I'm going to get rid of a bunch of crap I don't need in here. So let's start paring this down. So RPS air manifold fuel clutch starter. Coolant pump don't need. This one actually will probably run a coolant pump. So yeah, we'll run a coolant pump off this one. No, we don't need a coolant pump. I've been running them fine without radiator fans. Let's go without. That gets rid of a bunch of nodes. So that's something I'm looking to do, is get rid of some nodes. So I want to get rid of some nodes. That's engine, seat, engine, seat. All right, so this, instead of seat, this is going to be from transmission. Okay, from transmission. I want a key. All right, so that gets us a fair bit of the way there. So the key here is going to take over the 6 on the seat. All right, that's from transmission. So I changed the way I do some of the transmissions. So we're going to go to the 18 speed. 18 speed, as you can see, is more complicated. And then what are we running out here? Ooh, Jesus, this is big. Shifter pitch. Let's run all the, this is like a big panel anyway because of all the shit it needs. Desired gear. Okay. Does this not have the gear counter in there? That's coming off of something else, so that's not right. All right, this has like reverse alarm in it too, so it has extra stuff in there. All right, so desired gear is going to change. I have to add a whole line on this, which is kind of gross. Let's see. If I get rid of, let's get rid of the backup alarm. Oh, I don't want to change any of that. Let's not move that. They're all connected. I don't want to screw with that too much. Get rid of desired gear. Let's get rid of reverse alarm. And we'll do seat. And we'll do all right, 2 engine panel. All right, so that's gonna help with this. Oh my God, that fucked everything, didn't it? That's all right. They just need to be replugged. It didn't screw anything up. It's just annoying now. All right. Let's grab transmission tutorial as well. I changed up the way I do these. I keep making them better and better, and so it's like, You know, I was trying to make these chassis, then I'm going back and I'm like, make better chassis. So like the transmission tutorial, the way I've got this working now is that the seat will go through the transmission and then into the engine micro, and that saves a bunch of nodes. And so I like that. And so we need all this info here. And that will go in here. Where's the spawn area? Spawn's right here. All right, so the seat is now going to go in here. 4 is up, down on the shifter. That goes there. All right. And then what does this have? Does this have 4 negative gears? Yeah, -4. So this has 4 reverse gears on it because it's an 18-speed transmission. So it needs to go -4, and then it has 18 forward speeds. So. Okay, I want to make sure I didn't screw that up. I didn't. Okay, good. And these two here, what are these? Go there. That doesn't plug into anything, but then this is, I need to see what this hooks in. This is for the shifter's pitch. Let me fix that. All right, that's good. Let's move all this in so it's not so crazy. All right, that's the 18 there. That's why I didn't want to start building a whole new truck, because like I knew I was gonna have to go through all this shit anyways, but it'll pay some dividends later rather. All right. So that's pretty good there. That's mostly the readouts here. All right, and then we want, am I using 25, I think? 29 maybe. Check these, what I'm reading out on. I already pulled the panel, didn't I? Alright, so this no longer needs any of this coolant pump crapola there. I'll leave it for now, actually. I might put it back in, we'll see. I gotta figure out what channels I'm reading some of the stuff out on. Yeah, I changed up a way to do some of these things. It's much better now, but it's also like the old stuff now doesn't run it. That's why I like when people who are just workshop cowboys who just like take stuff off the workshop and then they get annoyed when the people who built the stuff don't update it. It's like you know you improve your craft so often that it's like I don't want to go back and work on that anymore. I'm working on new stuff that's better, and it's easier to work on the new stuff than is the old stuff. And a lot of those people who don't build anything don't get that, and so they get all frustrated that people don't go back and keep updating their builds. And it's like, no, man, I'm not going back, because it's like all that stuff is a nightmare to work on. Because it's like it's just all old stuff. Like you think the physics sensor comes in, and so you don't want to work on it, so you build new stuff, and then like some of it doesn't get out, and so because they never bother to learn how to make anything, then they get pissy about it. See right there. Seat, what is that? That is neutral. Okay, there we go. That's going to go to the 18. So, like, the 18's pretty old at this point, so it has a lot of stuff that I don't use anymore. So, let's see. Neutral is 0. Where are you at 0? hell's my neutral here? Do I not have a neutral in here at all? I don't have a neutral read, so I'll just make one. So 0 is neutral. The other thing too is like I'm adding now whenever I go into when I put the parking brake on, it's automatically neutralizing things. I wasn't doing that before, but I find it to be very useful now, so I've been doing it. You know. Let's see. Curious what I'm running on that. Yeah, so a lot of these newer conventions are really, I think, helpful in building quickly. All right, so that's the number, and that is 0. Okay, what I thought it was. So I really just need a, I just need to report out channel 26. I don't even need channel 25. I just need this, actually. That, get rid of that, and then go like this. Okay. So 26 is now just reading the number. All right. And then this here was the reverse alarm. It's easier to put that on a separate thing. Like all I have to do is whenever it goes in GR, gear reverse, it will then go to a 2-block microcontroller, so that can go anywhere. Making a microcontroller too big because I'm not going to be able to fit it in my truck. All right, so then we go from the seat, like that. All right, and then this will go from here to where seat used to go. All right. All right, so that's the Mac Pinnacle panel. I'm putting a new panel in, so let's look at the Mac Pinnacle panel, see if it's salvageable or if I should build it. See how big of a frickin' mess this is? This is an absolute disaster area. So, like, this is old school, old convention, like, some really, like, it's got a bunch of stuff tied in that I've separated. Like, I separated out a lot of the braking systems now, so, like, the new system I like better. So, RPS, air manifold, clutch, starter, alternator, battery, key. Okay, then I got a couple nodes. I can add a couple things I want. So, I'm going to do this new, like, this is much better. This is the new engine. It's even less tidy than I like because I made it for tutorial, so tried not to cover a bunch of nodes. You know, like this is how mine would look. I cover up all this so I can't see. All right, and then so what we want to do is from transmission, we want to take channel 26 now. So we'll take channel 26, which is going to tell us what gear we're in. And then we take channel 26, we go down to the clutch, and right here, this OR case right here, we put a threshold. So if we're in 0, which is neutral, it will automatically zero out our clutch. All right, good. All right, so that's better. And then let's go from the transmission here. So that's 2-engine panel. We'll go to there, and then this is going to go to the engine. So this is going to run the engine now. I need to see what my max RPS set was on the old one. Much, much better. It's at 11, I think. Like, see how much of a friggin' zoo this is? Like, it's an absolute zoo. This is a bunch of nonsense for hill climbing. I don't really need it anymore. It's just a bunch of nonsense. That was the way I was doing hill climbing. This is, like, super old. This is from the first challenge I did for Mr. New Jersey's challenges. That's when this was made. So like it's just super old now. So 12 I think is the height. It's like I can't even read this thing. It's such a zoo. So it's just a super old. It's better to get new. So let's go 12 on there. 3.5 is fine. These will be tuned in, but that's for the most part. So like I should be able to plug this in and have it work. Air manifold, variable brakes. Where are you at? Air manifold. That's fuel. There's air right there. Fuel. So we'll bring this up to new standard here. Clutch. Okay, this is gonna need to be able to run a PTO shaft, so I gotta figure that out too. Yeah, see, I need to put a separate clutch in to run the PTO. So I'm gonna put a PTO. Oh, geez, shit, I gotta figure something else out later too. So figure that out later too. I have PTO problems because the way this clutch works here is the clutch. This is the main clutch. The problem then becomes that if I'm running PTO, I need that clutch always engaged. And so I need to put a second clutch in. That would be fine if the clutch was a 1 block. It's not. The clutch is, a regular electro clutch is 2 blocks. It adds so much friggin' space onto the build. It really does. I'm going to drop this transmission down. Yeah, I'm going to drop this transmission down so I can get that in. And I'm going to change where the drive shaft meets up. That's what I'll do. Okay, so we'll cut the drive shaft there. Like certain things I was super picky about before, I'm not anymore. Like I was super picky about my drive shaft running properly, and now I don't care as much. So like, you're not gonna see them anyways, so it's kind of picky for the sake of being picky, and that's just annoying. See, so this needs to go back up. That's what takes the most work, is just going through the build and kind of revamping the systems here. What do I have here for cylinders? 16. There's a 16 cylinder in here. So I'm not running a pump off of this. So I think I'm going to shift the engine forward a little bit on this. Some of these were alright ideas, but it's like becoming very cumbersome at the moment. So I'm going to just shift some of this forward. Like I used to pump using the belt-driven pumps. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm using impellers. So I should be able to slide the whole engine forward. And so because I was using so many belt-driven pumps, I was having to put on the bigger belt drive, and now I don't have to do that, so. Right there. So should be able to do a couple alternators and a couple starters, and we'd be good. There's like a lot of stuff, so much you go back and you just get better every day, you build, and it's like some of your old habits and your old strategies don't work as well as your new stuff, and it's better to take a walk back and redo a bunch of the stuff because it's just going to be much improved, I would say. Okay. So the issue here I have is I had to do this on the minor so this clutch is going to have to always be engaged so it can run the PTOs. And so then you have to put in an electric clutch to be able to actually work as the drive clutch. So then you have a drive clutch and a systems clutch, essentially. Because the power takeoff on a lot of these engines, they would come off the front. or they'd come off an accessory drive, you know, essentially where the flywheel is. And can't do that now. Let's see where we're at here. Ooh, I can slide that. Gorgeous. That's gorgeous. All right, that cuts. Cut you. Go there. Bingo. That helps. Clutch. Nice. Oh, that is absolutely pristine, that. I could even potentially drop the motor if down one. Let's see what I can do to drop the motor down one. I can get this, like, you know, the trucks are having to be, fuck, okay, that's fine. Make sure I'm not deleting something I can't delete. I can drop the motor down too, which is a godsend. Yeah, I can drop the motor down, so that's a big relief too. Like, so much of the stuff I used to do is just like now is a pain in the ass. Oh yeah, we're in business here. This is helpful. This is gonna come along nicely now. Yeah, as much as I didn't want to completely rebuild something, I think it's worthwhile doing it. It just really adds a lot of there's a lot of benefit to it. It really is. Ooh, we're gonna run into problems here. No, we're not. Okay, we're perfect. Just nice, nice, nice. All right, this goes here. See how many gears are in this 18-speed transmission to get a good 18 out of it. All right, so this will work nicely now. We're in business here. We're really cooking with gas. All right, nice. So, like, I'm giving myself more headspace, which is nice. I could lower the seating down, which for some of the builds, I want a tall seating. I could still have it. And some of them I want low seating, so I can still have that too. So that's very helpful. Right, so there's air right there. And then fuel needs to go in fuel. All right, so this is a big help doing this like this. All right, so here's the, so the whole reason I'm doing this is we have a systems clutch. The systems clutch will make it so the power of the engine is always going out. And so there are a bunch of accessory systems we need to run constantly. We need to run impellers for cooling. We need to run impellers for hydraulic pumps. For the drill, we need to run the PTO for the drill. And so because there are all these systems we need this clutch always engaged. But we're going to need a way to have separate the transmission, which operates the drive system. And so that's what the separate, way too big clutch is. I wish the devs would add a one-block clutch. Luckily, in this case, it's not a big pain in the ass. But you can see where it could be, you know. So we need to put in, so this is our PTO right here. This is our power takeoff from our engine. So our engine clutch is always going to be engaged, and then it's going to be spitting out the power off this top node. So here's the PTO out. And so anything I need PTO power for will come off of that T-piece there. And then the engine will come in through there. So let's get the engine plumb back in, as that is somewhat important. So here is the engine drive system here. So let's go ahead, we'll cut that. And we'll grab a T-piece enclosed for the front axle. Again, IRL, generally you're not running front axles on these types of tractors, but in game, you know, you're having to do it because it's, you know, it's much more helpful to have all the wheels running. So, and then this I can decockify this. All right, so that'll go straight from the pumpkin right there. So there's the new drive shaft. All right, good. I can skinny the frame rails down earlier too, so that's nice. All right, so that was a lot of improvement there. I've been putting this off for a long time. This is a lot of work going back through some of these old builds and getting them up to current spec, but it's 100% worth it. All right, hydraulics need to come in the back. That's fine. We'll come across like... Okay, let's go off of you, right like that. PTO is going to come up like that. We'll do one more, and I'll see if the impeller behaves itself, or it's a big pain in the ass. Could go either way. All right, and let's see. Are you going to be intake on top? Oh, you're not. Okay, that was asking too much for it to be a little bit kind to me, but it's not a huge deal. Where are we going to put the air stack on here? Air stack on the front somewhere. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do here is we will cut you, grab you, we'll move you down. All right, that's going to be air intake there. Beautiful. What I think I'm going to do is use this, the space from the flywheel. I do like a flywheel on some of these bigger applications. It just maintains speed. But we could PTO this now. Yeah, I can't PTO it off that. Okay. All right, I can't think of anything I need on the left for PTO, so I would love it if they'd add actual PTO stuff in game. That would be fan-frickin-tastic, like the ability to turn a shaft. You know, we can do some stuff with RPS, but like we can't turn a shaft, so like you can't, like that's how a lot of farm equipment works, is as the PTO shaft turns, it will then move implements. So instead of having a motor and stuff, you either have geared or belt-driven stuff that then turns. All right, let's go. All right, there we go. This is going to be for my hydraulic system right there. All right, so let's grab the hydraulic system back in. Did I not name it hydraulics? Did I not spell hydraulics right when I put it in there? All right, I'm just leaving this as an example. I pretty much know what it needs to do, but it'd be good to look at it. All right, so which way are you in? You are, it doesn't matter. Fluid out is top, so it does matter to a certain extent. All right, so this is fluid in. This is fluid out. Hydraulics are going to go in the back here, so I want all this, all my hydraulic connections here. All right, so that's trying to see where the back of the cab's going to be. We'll probably put the back of the cab right about there, I'd say. All right, we'll plumb to this. So this is, I have them labeled, luckily. All right, this is the return, and that is the send. So let's see, that is out. So this is the top send? Send, perfect. All right, so the top is send. And we need a send tank. So here's the, which one's return? Could do return off that. Let me see. Let's go like, just do that. Right, diesel, let's see. All right, so that's diesel there, and then this is going to be return. This is send, I believe. Return? Return. Okay. Let's plumb the return all the way up before I forget. Return. Okay. And then I'm going to keep this as a chassis. We're going to save this once it becomes a chassis, and then I don't have to redo this 98 times. think I'm going to change this up a little bit. These are all labeled, so I'm just going to move them. Simplify this a little bit. Trying to keep it somewhat space conscious too. So this is going to be the send storage. So they were crisscrossing before. They won't crisscross now. The two storages will be in the middle. Yeah, so these are the two storages here, and then those are the feeds. So that makes it a little bit more compact for me now. And it's going to be easier to find. If you notice, like every time I had to find which hose, it was kind of a pain in the ass. Now they're a little bit more standardized, so that's better. I would love to be able to take from the side of the bottom of those. That would be fantastic. All right, there we go. So there's the hydraulic system plumbed in. So I'll put PTO on this chassis for everything. All right, good. So we've got, I have to put the brakes back in. I took the brakes out, right? I never worked on brakes on this one. Okay, good. So that's all the hydraulic stuff figured out for the PTO system. And then we want to take in the brake system. So we'll take the air brakes, and we're going to plumb this up to modern air brakes. New TTIS is going in. All right, good. So here's the new brakes. So I need to put all these in, see where these are fitting. Yeah. You know, I know some people hate rebuilding stuff. I get it. But, your stuff does get better and better, and it's nice to get back in there and kind of fix things. So let's go right side air brakes on this one. I don't know. I might move the battery box over there. I'll have to decide here. It's nice to hide them behind the wheels. Or behind the steps, rather. Alright, so there's the new air brake. Again, I'd love to put these in on pumps, but like it's gonna be tough to always have enough for a belt-driven pump. I just like rarely have the space for that. Okay, and this can actually go on the other side. Beautiful, right there. And so often these go right under the step here. Like I even have them faked right here, so I'll fix this faked one and put them in there. So now they're not faked anymore. We actually have real air brakes. Again, that was one of the things that most excited me about this was like making these simulated systems that I could have actually real systems that were no longer just fake nonsense because of the pressure update. For so long it was all just faked bullshit, and now it doesn't have to be faked bullshit. We can actually do some realistic systems that function well. Like you saw how easy the hydraulic system was. It's just a valve open, valve closed, and the trailer dumps or it doesn't, and it works how it would in real life, and it makes it so much easier to plumb this stuff in. So I really love the pressure update for that. There's a lot more they can do. It's like a first salvo into some really cool stuff they could do. Right, so I moved a battery. I should be able to actually slide that battery forward here. So usually the battery box is, not always, but it's often under the driver's side step. And so you actually take the step off, and then get the two batteries in there for two 12s for 24 volt setup. You run 12s, but you have two of them in series. Ah, fucking Jesus! Now it's gonna be a pain to hook these here. Ugh, it's always annoying when it does that. They do this shit where you can't attach them, so then you have to pull everything you just worked on to get them in. Just make them omnidirectional attach, please. It's not the end of the world, but it is annoying. It's just busy work, which can be, you know, you already got a lot going on. It's tough to deal with it. But yeah, I love that now these things are more realistic. Awesome. So that's plumbed in nicely, and then what we'll do is we'll put in right there. Well, how the fuck are you not touching it now? I do have to worry about the tanks here for fuel. So I'm trying to think of that. I'm trying to keep cautious of the fuel tanks. So I want to make enough space I can get 2 big saddle tanks, and they're gonna go. I already have the saddle tanks on the. Oh, what's it called? They're already on the cab over, so I'm just gonna yank them off that. I put in a bunch of just blank microcontrollers to give me more space with that. So take you, cut you, move you in. There we go. All right, so there's the pneumatic line plugged in. That says air supply already. Nice. All right. Delete, please. Why won't it delete this? The hell? Wouldn't delete it. The fuck? All right, that's plugged in. So there's all our attach points, hydraulics, and then I need a cable. So that's going to be for the light cord. Light cord goes right there. All right, nice. How's it going there, Grim Draco? How are you? On the old Twitch. How's it going? We catch up on some chat here. On my Scania, I could pull the LC51 with 2 containers without the front wheels. That's why, well, it's nice. What am I cooking? I'm working on the new 18-speed chassis that's kind of up to date. Yeah, I get like that all the time. I'm just like, oh, I'll just rip out all this logic, and it's like, ugh. And then, like, you hate it at the time because it's a shitload of work, and then you do it, and you're like, why didn't I do this sooner? Because, like, you end up banging your head against the wall with all the old stuff for so long, and it's so frustrating. And then you finally just do it, and it's like, why the hell didn't I do that sooner? You know, and that's part of the problem is it's a hell of a lot of work, and then you do it, and you're like, I should have done this sooner. You know, this was not worth complaining about. This was better to just do it, you know? And that's usually what I find with it is it would have been just better to do it do it earlier, you know? All right, we'll plumb in cooling later on this. This thing, like, for the longest time, when I released the Mac Pinnacle to the workshop, the cooling wasn't plumbed in, and it didn't need it because it was running so cold. Because it only, like, at full speed, it barely does any, you know, it barely is running any RPS. You don't need that much cooling, if any. And so you plug in a little radiator, it runs fine. So I'll probably get rid of that big radiator anyway, but I'm just trying to... I want to get this thing started before I have to go. After, 12 minutes. Let's see if we can get that going. Eaton folder 10 speed. This is going. All right, key. Let's set that goal. Try to get this running before I have to go. Okay. Battery is going to go off one of these bats. Alternators right there. The rest is plumbed. All right, the clutch goes now to this clutch. And then this one gets a constant 1 value. So for now, I'm just going to do this because I want to get this. I want to just try a run on this. And we'll see if we can get this running. And then that'll be good progress to know that this is going to be where I need it. All right, fuel tanks. I need something. I'm just going to throw a little tank on here. I need to get it up and running. Seeing I have time blindness. If I don't... I'll think that I have, in 12 minutes, I can do everything I need to, and I will never get it done. So that's going there. Air is going to be... And I need exhaust. I always cut out the exhaust. It's the one thing I do a good job of cutting out. I'm just going to make the things pink that I need to go back and look at. So that way, like when I get back to the build, I'm not like, what the hell did I do there? You know, it's kind of like, oh, I know that was something that I needed to do. You know, to at least look at stuff, make sure it is where it needs to be. All right, so that is plugged in. That's all good. We've got air, fuel. There's brakes. I need the new brake panel needs to go in, definitely. That's the new brake panel. What are you? You are Titus Mark II. You most certainly need to come in and be merged. Stick you on the 5th wheel. All right, good. What do we got here? Doors, steering, 18 speed. All that needs to come in. I really want to get this. Just do a quick drive. So, you know, I talked about this before. I was going to release these chassis. Then I started running into problems where I'm like, they're convoluted. And so, like I said, this microcontroller that used to run this was literally the first land vehicle I ever built. And it was bastardized off of that. I improved it, but it was not great. And I kept just Frankenstein it. And so finally, I've been wanting for a long time to just rebuild the John. And finally got to rebuilding it. So let's check it real quick. It's going to need infinite electricity, so we'll leave that on. Infinite fuel can stay off. Now let's see if we can get it fired up. Okay. All right, that's good. Tractor supply. Okay. And stormworks crashed. Stick it up your ass. I don't know what caused that crash. I do not know what caused that crash. That is probably my... Oh, I don't know. I would say max 3rd crash this year. Some people are like crashing on a daily basis, and I think so much of it has to do with like they just have so many add-ons and bullshit that don't work together. Like people like, I crash every day. And I'm like, dude, I literally have crashed. That's the 3rd crash this year, I'd say. I'd say 3 to 5 this year max. And one of them was caused because I had Tarkov running at the same time, and OBS and Stormworks. You know, and I probably capped my CPU out because running both games, I can often hit max CPU, and a lot of games, as soon as they can't make the CPU calculations, they dump. You know, so I don't know what caused that crash, but go to the autosave here. The game's got a pretty good autosave system. It does a reasonable job. Let's see. 18 speed. So this was long, like this is long overdue for me to rebuild these chassis, but like for those who don't know, the whole point of a chassis is like when you go to a truck manufacturer and you want to order a truck, this is what it is. It's a chassis. It has an engine, you pick the engine, you pick the transmission, and it has the frame of the truck. You can also pick suspension, and you might pick if you want a Jost, or you want a I forget the other brand of fifth wheel, but Jost is the one to go with. Click. You know, you pick some of your other features, and then the rest of it's pretty much frills and personal preferences. But like, this is what the truck is. They have a chassis sitting there, and they drop in the engine you've ordered. They drop in the transmission you've ordered. They might change. You know, they take a chassis with the particular suspension that you've asked for, and then you know, the cab is put on top of it. They're actually cab-on chassis. Infinite electricity. And so you do all that, and so like the whole point of the chassis when I eventually release them on the workshop is they're gonna have the transmission in there and the engine, and you're going to just you build the truck on top of it, and it has everything you need already built onto it. I have the transmission screwed up. I gotta fix it. Something's wrong with the transmission. Yeah, the transmission's out of something's wrong with it. I screwed something up hooking it up. I gotta fix it. But it is running, so like what I want to do is get these chassis out, and like if you want to build a truck, you take the chassis you want. You want the 10 speed, you want the 18 speed, you want the 13 speed, you want the one with the drop axle, you want the one with no drop axle, you want I should make one that's a single screw. You know, you want a double screw, you want a twin screw, you want a triple screw, you want a double screw, a twin screw with a drop axle, you want double steers, you know, and so you have a bunch of these with the various transmissions in them, and so then you can just build your truck on top of it. You know, and I try to make them as simulatory as possible. Like, I think I'll probably put the hydraulic system on all of my trucks now just to make it easier, because once it's in there, you notice like I have a lot of space under the cab. So I'm good on space under the cab. You know, and so you just get your chassis that you need, and you're good there. You know, so something's up with the transmission I got to fix, but that's the whole point of having a chassis system is, you know, you want to build a Peterbilt, you grab the chassis, you want an 18 speed in there, you want 10 speed in there, whatever you're looking for, and you put it in there, you know. But that's what we're looking at. So this is the newest drive system I have. Like what I was doing before, which was like taking me way too much time, was, you know, every tractor had its own specific engine panel. Like this engine panel here came off of the modular engine basics tutorial. So I took the same one that is in that patent is now in the truck. They really don't change that much, but if you need to tune it, you come in here and okay, I want a higher max RPS. You change it. For example, on the patent here, this has a higher RPS. It goes up to 20. Why? It's a 4-cylinder motor. This has a 16-cylinder motor with an 18-speed transmission. This can rev much lower and make more power because it's a bigger engine, revving lower, going through a much lower gearbox. So I only have to rev this one here to 12. This one here, it's a much smaller car, but it has a much smaller motor, so it needs to rev to 20 to get the same power. You know, or not the same power, but to get the power. And then to put the power to the wheels, this has a 5-speed transmission. This has an 18-speed transmission in it. You know, and then you can change all the values in here. So I'm kind of doing more of that, smaller panels that interconnect. So that was a big paradigm shift. You know, so let's save that up and, you know, so that's kind of the thing. So like if we look at my chassis, I have some saved and then I'll go. So like here are all the chassis. So here's the 10. We have, yeah, that's old. These are old. But we have 10s. There'll be a 10, an 18, a 10, a 13, and 18. Those are the main ones that are on a heavy duty truck, and then for light duty trucks, you go usually through a 6 to an 8. For light duty, like they're called light duty trucks. Like for a lot of people, they think of them as big trucks, but somebody who used to drive heavy duty trucks, like here is or they're medium duty. They're actually called, a lot of them are called medium duty. Like here, let's go on the Mac site real quick. And I gotta go. This is a medium duty Mac. For a lot of people, that looks like a big truck. Just no cookies. Just piss off. Let's see. So I'm trying to look at, I should have clicked on specs. Here's specs. Go specs. So like here are the specs. So it has a 220 horsepower engine. Okay. Transmission, 6-speed. Allison. All right. They don't have the Mac in there. All right. So now if you go to Mac, so here's like a heavy duty Mac. Here's a, let's go to the, that's medium duty. I clicked on the wrong truck. There's the MD, medium duty. Ooh, they do have an electric now. So here's like a Mac Granite. These are built for dump trucks, off-road applications. Like if you look at the specs on this, this now has, like you got to look at the liter count too. Like horsepower, like people are like, oh, my Ferrari has more horsepower than your truck. Yeah, but it doesn't put it to the ground the same that it does. So there's an MP7. We used to run MP8s. So 415 to 505. So you're talking at least double the power. And then it has the transmissions. You can get an Eaton full manual. You can probably get an 18-speed in there. I think 10, 13s, and 8s. And then you can use M drives, which I think the M drives are, what are they, 12s now? I can't remember. Some of them are 12s. So, like, this is what a heavy-duty truck looks like. Look at the torque, 1260 to 1860. All right, 1260 to 1860. And then, like, look at the torque on this one. Torque, 660. All right. So, that's Cummins, inline 6. Personally, I would want the inline 6. So you're talking 660 foot-pounds of torque. This would be the Mac, I would say. This one could be the same as this 6-cylinder. It's probably the same 6-cylinder. I don't know on the medium duties. But you see 660 foot-pounds of torque. And then if you look at the Mac heavy duties here, they're rocking 12 to 1860. So likely the bigger motor spec'd up with an 18-speed transmission, you're gonna get that. And then like here, let's look at really quick Ford F350. I just want the specifications, please. You see how much more commercial like these sites are compared to like, they're not as big of a pain in the ass when you go on like a professional commercial truck site. Like here, they're trying to like throw all these frills at you. Piss off. Just block. Just go away. I don't want to do that. So F350 specs. See if they just have a spec sheet somewhere. Let's see. Okay, right here, 430. Okay. So like this sounds like, oh my, look at that. That has more horsepower than the than the medium duty truck, right? But the transmission's completely different, right? 430 and 1050 at 1600 RPM. So you are not getting anywhere near the same. This is the power stroke. This is the gas. So there's a big difference in the transmissions. Like having a proper truck transmission. The 350 starting to get into. They're still medium duties. These 350s. Like you start going down to like a F150. Like that is a light duty truck. So we'll try to keep them apples to oranges. We'll do light duty, medium duty, heavy duty. Just show me the specs. Don't go in a big bunch of bullshit, please. Website. Yeah, they're going to be a pain in the balls here trying to find it. I wish they would just list them. This site might, this one might do it. So like here we go, 430 at 570 foot-pounds of torque. So like this is a light-duty truck, 430, 570. The medium-duty Mac was like 260 at 660 foot-pound of torque. Plus it's mated to a medium-duty truck's transmission. Then you go into a heavy-duty truck. You know, it sounds like, oh my, the Mac, the big Mac, the big heavy-duty truck only has 415 horsepower. That is 415 horsepower in an enormous 6-cylinder diesel, and it has 1,200 foot-pounds of torque. So it has, you know, more than double, and the up-spec has triple the torque. You know, and then it's great. Like, people are like, oh, that means I could pull as much weight as you could in your big tractor. It's like, yeah, but you don't have the suspension for it either, and you don't have the tires for it. You know, your car tires probably inflated to like 60 to 70 psi. The truck tires are inflated to 120 psi, and you have 10 of them on the power unit. You know, so it's like, it's funny. Like, every once in a while, you'll see somebody bragging, hey, I pulled a semi out of a ditch with my diesel pickup truck, thinking they got a big truck, and it's like, all you did was tear the shit out of your truck for no reason. You know, it's like, you need to have a wrecker come out and pull out the semi because they're designed to do it. You know, but yeah, so it's a good thing I'm getting back into that. It was a big pain in the ass. I really didn't want to go back into it, but now that the systems are kind of going pretty fast, I think we'll be pretty good. Let me catch up on chat, and then I got to run. Yeah, exactly. So, like, you know, you can go through there on the Mac builder, and you can build out your system exactly what you want. And like, Mac still has the notorious spine jiggler transmission. I'm sorry, suspension. I don't have much time to go through this, but like, let's go trucks, granite. Let's see. Trying to see. It doesn't have a builder on there that I can run through real quick, but I want to see. I want to see what they have on suspension. Like, I spec'd one out not that long ago that you could still get the old terrible transmission suspension that would absolutely destroy your butt. So like, this would be a lift axle. So like, see how you build them? You know, you put on lift axles. You want dump body, no lift axle. Like, look, that's the same truck. They're just putting a lift axle on it. You know, they're going and pulling the frame out of the yard. They're putting the engine in. They're putting the transmission you spec'd in. They're putting a drop axle and no drop axle. Here's axle and suspension. So Camelback these are very heavy duty. These destroy your spine, though. These Camelbacks, they're also the cheapest because they're simple, but they destroy your spine. We usually do, I think this air suspension here. These are better for on the road. These absolutely destroy your spine. You know, every driver is going to have a back like mine. But, you know, like some of these heavier duty hauls, like, you know, that is 65,000 pound rating on the Camelback. That means that does not flex at all. All that jolt goes in your spine. These, see, it says right here, important note, not recommended for certain vocational applications. You do not want to be putting air suspension on this truck. You go put a bunch of boulders in the back here, you're going to blow out your airbags. It's going to save the driver from having a back problem, but it's going to blow out the airbags. So you might want to go up to something like, see, like these Chalmers are a little bit low on the weight rating. You know, like if you were doing this type of M-Rides, not bad. If you were doing like this type of off-field stuff, doing hauling rocks, you're going to want Camelbacks on there. It's going to destroy your spine, though. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to finish up there. Good work on this. Let me just quickly save it one more time. I got to run, but you know, so I'm going to try to get this chassis done. Then we'll finish building the truck probably tomorrow off the chassis. I might even start tonight. And then we'll have a new truck that's designed for doing road train work. And we can use this with the multiplayer series. I'll get the save going. And then when we're ready, we can do a nice multiplayer mining game. But thank you guys for doing me that favor and going on Twitch. We got 4 concurrent viewers. We had up to 5. Again, I'm trying to get affiliate on Twitch. So if you are not following me on Twitch, I would ask if you don't mind to please do that. If you'd also watch on Twitch until I can get affiliate, appreciate that. Then after that, you guys can watch me wherever you prefer. If you guys have not subscribed and you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. If you like the video, that helps me out. If you guys would go like and watch the Build Challenge Juliet video, that's the only one I ask you guys to watch. That took me 11.5 hours to make. So if you guys watch that, I'd appreciate that. Congratulations to all the winners of Juliet, and go vote now for your community favorite. And I will see you guys later.